Hello and welcome inside the scores table, sectional semifinals extravaganza edition, I guess was what we're going to call it. Brian Haenchen and Danny Riego here with you. Danny and I, after Tuesday's show, stayed up, put together a guest list. Wednesday, we executed that guest list, and we have one hell of a lineup to bring you guys tonight. Scott Schoen from Silver Creek here in about 10 minutes. Then Maryrose Felling from Triton Central. Lexi Primus ahead of North Knox's big game against South Knox. Kyle Sokeland, because he's contractually obligated to come on with us. Cade Hampton to talk with us about that Yorktown sectional that's so deep. Elle McCulloch ahead of Brownsburg Plainfield. We have Maya Layton from Lafayette. Jeff coming with us. They have McCutcheon coming up. FahKara Hawkins of North Central with Naja Winston going up against her old team in Lawrence North on Friday night. And then finally Swynn and Katie Jackson from Fort Wayne Northrop ahead of their game against Snyder. So, Danny, we have a locked and loaded lineup. Before all of that, though, obviously some pretty significant news over on IndyStar.com, and that is that Riley Schellhammer has been cleared to play in the sectional semifinal Friday for Greenfield Central. That news just breaking here on IndyStar.com about, I don't know, half an hour ago officially. Came as a surprise, just the timing-wise. I wasn't expecting news to be breaking today, honestly. I've been working on a big feature that I've been at for a few months now. And that came across the old desk, and it's like, oh, we got something fun to talk about here at the top, Danny. We can get into, I guess, the nuances of it all, but basically there's a committee run by the Department of Education that made that decision there, a case review panel. They overturned the appeal, or it was her eligibility ruling, was overturned upon appeal by the Department of Education's case review panel. Which allows her to play. This will be her second school of the season, third school if you date it back a calendar year to February 2025. The timing obviously is super interesting. Greenfield Central plays Anderson tomorrow night. Anderson is an improved team. Like you can tell they're on the upswing.
Before you get into that, can I ask you for some clarification? So the IHSA ruled, and then there was a certain time period that elapsed. The appellate process was started with, or then went to the Department of Education, and the Department of Education overruled the original ruling of the IHSAA.
That's the way that I understand, is that the IHSAA made its ruling. So you applied for that. They said no, and then it was overturned upon appeal. That is the way that I understand it, at least. It's a convoluted process, but the Department of Education. That's how some of these cases before have gone as well. And in a statement, do you have any other thoughts, Danny? I have a statement from the lawyer that's in the story too.
I think let's get all the news out.
Sure. This is from the lawyer. Riley Schellhammer and her family are relieved and grateful for the case review panel's decision to provide her full eligibility. Thankfully, Riley can now embrace the Greenfield Central community without limitation. Riley treasures this opportunity and looks forward to taking the court for the Cougars tomorrow night, continuing to conduct herself with character, respect, and sportsmanship both on and off the court. So there you go. That's the news. Riley Schellhammer ruled eligible for Greenfield Central.
I'm stunned. I mean, I'm stunned, and not in a good way or a bad way. I'm just stunned, and I'm sure that I'm not the only one that is stunned. It was for me, and where I have been throughout this news story, contrary to what people might think, have been on the outside. So I actually found out just while everybody else did, through the really natural texts. My first reaction was this. I think there needs to be less focus on who it is and more focus on what it is. I understand. Look, I mean, Riley's graphic is in the center of our screen right now. She is not just a good basketball player. She's one of the best basketball players in this state. And when she first left Lawrence Central, this is seemingly all that anybody wanted to talk about. But you had alluded to it when you were talking about the reporting of this news story, was the what it is and not who it is establishing precedence, right? I mean, that was the question that we all had. What's going to happen with Kanan? What's going to happen with Morelli? What's going to happen with Schellhammer? We have the answer to 2/3 of those right now, and 2/3 of them are eligible and playing in the sectional. So there is a precedent being set right now that every attorney and every school and every family and every player is paying attention to. So I am stunned at the precedent on the front side of this that is being set. I will caution everybody in this that I don't know that anybody. There's individual nuance to each of those stories, and I can assure you that we don't know everything that's going on with all of this. But I mean, it quickly becomes a basketball story. I mean, you started to get into like who they're going to play. Like, I mean, I'll tell you one person who probably got it across his text was Nick Rogers, head coach at Pendleton Heights, who now has to worry about Riley Schellhammer on Saturday night if both teams were to advance into the sectional championship game at his place. A completely different dynamic of where he was mentally after the big Mount Vernon win. So 48 hours later, now there's this to deal with.
Yeah, and two, I mean, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn here, but I mean, Nick's aware of that. Like, he knew this was a possibility. We talked a while back just about that, and I was like, so who in this sectional, who scares you? Obviously, Mount Vernon. He mentioned Anderson, a team that I mentioned earlier that's playing better basketball here of late this season, not of late, this season. And then he mentioned Greenfield Central too, and just kind of the ambiguity of that situation. Well, now you have the clarification, you know who it's going to be. And yeah, that'll be interesting. And for Greenfield Central to have a game under their belt, they have that game against Anderson, and then it's going to be most likely going to be Pendleton Heights, I believe, plays Richmond in the first semifinal. So you're playing them on their home court. It's but yeah, I think stunned, neither good or bad, is the way that I would describe it too. Just kind of once the initial like, boy, we got something reporting to do. I got to stop what I'm doing, and get to this. It was just kind of like stunned, like wow. And I'm interested to see the dominoes and who knows on the girls' side. I don't know. It's the transfers so far. Like there's been a little flurry now of the high profile transfers, but before this, right? Like it wasn't as many of the big high profile ones. So I'm kind of curious to see how much of a precedent this sets, like how in terms of prevalence. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I was going somewhere with that. I can't remember, Danny.
But prevalence, you know, most of the people will be counseled. I refuse to believe that people with midseason transfer under their own personal circumstance would just enter without like any plan or any conversation or any level of education. So the hypothesis that I arrived to is that it's not necessarily the precedent that's being set for families and their decision making, because I think that people were always going to transfer high schools. Everyone knows my position on this. I'm very outward about how I think we're just heading in that direction, and I think we need to normalize it. But you know, if any of this becomes litigious and you work with attorneys, or I mean, look, like my college roommate and best friend is a partner in one of the biggest law firms in the city, and there's an entire floor that is dedicated to this stuff now. Like
high school transfers?
Like no, just I mean anything regarding NILs, collectives, transfers, things like that. And so they will eventually probably get to the point where this is such commonplace. I think this is, and I don't want to overstate it, but I think this is somewhat monumental in the sense that it is somebody that is so relevant, and the schools that that Riley was previously at, Fishers and Lawrence Central, like super relevant schools with large markets and a lot of influence and a lot of power and a lot of connection. In fact, there's Fishers 5 years ago was in the state championship game, and Lawrence Central won the state championship game 2 years ago. And so like, I mean, just spin this forward 2 weeks. Like what, I mean, if Riley Schellhammer is playing on the second weekend of this tournament, like what a story that would be. And I'm not putting them into the, you know, past the sectionals yet. I'm sure Pendleton Heights will have and Anderson and everything
all over the Pendleton locker room.
They absolutely will. They absolutely will. But I mean, this is episode 95, 96 of the sports table ever. Like if you date back to like, I don't know, episode 80, like we're literally in this season, like 20 episodes ago, we were breaking down Riley Schellhammer's impact on a different basketball team that is also relevant in this postseason run. So this is monumental. I'll also say this. I'm tuning in on Saturday. There's no question I'm going to have a screen on or Friday, tomorrow. I'm tuning in. I want to see this. This is unreal.
Crazy time to be alive, Danny. That's how I would put it, and that's how I'm going to segue us out of that conversation and bring on our first guest of the night. Because again, I've mastered these transitions, and I like to make them as clunky and as awkward as possible. But with that, we're going to go ahead and bring on Scott Shane. Scott, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How are you guys doing?
Doing great. It's great to see you. Silver Creek coming up here. Scott, head coach of Silver Creek. They have Charlestown coming up here tomorrow night in 3A sectional 30 semifinals. Scott, I'll just start off very broadly and let Danny ask a couple questions. But how are you feeling about this group? How has the layoff been treating you guys?
Man, it's good. I mean, we actually were talking about to the team just today, right, as we're preparing for Charlestown, is that we've been through a lot, man. We've been through a lot of adversity. And we've been kind of torn, but then you heal, right? And you heal. And as a team, I told him, I was like, there's nothing that's going to tear us apart. Like, I don't know how tomorrow's going to go. I don't know how this journey ends, but man, we're in such a good place, like as a team, that, I don't think there's anything that's going to tear us apart. And I think that's really where you want to be come February.
Scott, this is the second time you've played Charlestown this year. I think it's an highly anticipated matchup. Let me ask you, as a coach, just not really on the floor, but really just kind of in the preparation. You now have game film. Like, of the two teams that are going to compete, you don't have to tell me what you saw in the film, but how do you approach when you have played somebody or playing somebody for the second time? How does that change your scout and your preparation?
Well, you always look at little things, right? You look at little tendencies, right? You look at tendencies, like how did they attack? How did we attack? Charlestown is such a good team, and it's a rival. It's a rival. They're 6 miles down the road. It's such a rival. We know everything that we're going to run. Scott does a great job at Charlestown. I mean, he's been there 10 years. I've been here 16. So, And Danny, you coach, you have your tendencies. Even as a coach, you have, tails, but, going back and watching film, looking how we defended certain things, certain actions, how they defended certain actions, that's kind of what you look at, right? I mean, the bottom line is, though, I feel like if in Charlestown, I think it's in the same boat. If you're a good team, you gotta do what you do, right? You can't. I've coached teams where I've got to, you got to smoke and mirrors things, and you got to do certain things. You got to hide certain things, and you're hoping for certain things, right? And but when you got a good team that you believe in, I feel like they do also that. You got to play to your strengths, And so, but you go back and look at the film. I mean, you look for tendencies. I mean, you look for certain. How do they defend? Offensively, what do they do? I'm sure Scott's doing the same thing with us. Like, how did they defend us? What did they do? Where did we struggle? How can we take advantage of this situation? So it's a chess match, man. It's a chess match.
Do you feel the gravity? Do you feel the gravity of the emotion? And let me set that up. Like last year, we were talking a lot about Floyd Central getting past the sectional and how they had to climb over this Bedford North Lawrence thing. HSE had to do that with Noblesville when they had their kind of their Shade Wilson run. I mean, Scott, it's kind of in these parts. Just I know you guys don't win it every year, but like Silver Creek sectional, like, do you feel the gravity of like Charlestown coming in there being like, we gotta knock them off. We're the underdog. This is their sectional, or do you kind of downplay all that, make it a basketball game?
I don't know. I mean, we kind of talk about just being us. I mean, the games are the games. I mean, you got to take all that stuff out of it. The bottom line is you can't get wrapped up. I just told the girls today, like, the meaning, like the message is very simple. How can we keep this year going, right? How can we continue to play? Because honestly, I mean, I love this team. This team is fun. It's not always been fun. It's been like, we've had some things during the year, but I love this team, man. This is probably one of my favorite teams to coach now. And we talked about, the message was very simple, was how can we keep this going? Well, how do you do it? Just don't change. Just keep being who we are, right? And don't try to do too much. Trust each other, rely on each other. It's really not even talking about the gravity of the game. I mean, it's a rivalry game. It's going to be packed. It's number 2 versus number 4 in the state. But I also look at it like, hey, our team's been there. I have great senior leadership. We've been there. They've been, like I told, we've suffered, man. Last year getting beaten that sectional finals, we've suffered. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. I'm going to tell you, man, it hurt. it hurt us, and it hurt me. You know, you reevaluate everything, man, when you do that. So, you know, the game is the game. I think we're in a really good place as a team. We're going to go in there and it's about us, you know, and Charlestown's really, really good, and they do some great stuff. But the bottom line is if you have your team prepared and we've had great practices throughout the course of the year, not just for a week, right? Not just for a week, but I'm talking about from day 1 to day 300, whatever day it is. Like, you cannot just decide the week of sectional that you're going to be a team that wants to compete for a championship.
That's right. That
stuff starts day 1. You know, that's when it starts. And I feel like Charlestown's in that same boat. So it's going to be 2 really good teams playing each other. Like I said, I don't know how it's going to turn out. I like us, but I like them too. I think that it's going to be a fun game, man. It's going to be a great game. Hey, I wish I was a fan instead of being down there in that chair. That chair sucks, man. It'll be fun. It'll be fun until it's not.
Yeah. There's nothing enjoyable about it, by the way.
No, there's not that. It's overrated. No, this coaching stuff's overrated. Right? I've been up till 3:30 in the morning. Like, it's been horrible. Yeah. Horrible, you know. So, but that's why we do it, though. The highs are high and the lows are low, man.
Somebody's got to do it, Scott.
Right. I mean, we're dumb enough to do it.
Is the chemistry on this group different? Like, is this group, you mentioned, you know, them all being together, is it different this year? Like, can you tell? And is that something that just comes from having so many seniors that it just kind of natural? Like, hey, this is our last go around, and gives them a different kind of appreciation perspective? I
think it does. You know, I think anytime you have seniors, I mean, it's funny. Anytime you have seniors, when they get to sectional week or, you know, the week leading up to it, they understand that, hey, you know, it's the most we could have left is 6 games. That's it, right? I mean, I don't care who you are in the state of Indiana, Homestead, Hamilton South, it doesn't matter. Lawrence Central, it doesn't matter. The most you have is 6 games left, and so I think with the seniors, I think they start understanding that a little bit more. They start appreciating the situation a little bit more. Chemistry, I think that this group here, I've always had, knock on wood, I've had teams that they have good chemistry. You know, they care for each other. They hang out with each other. They hang out outside of basketball. You know, we're doing yesterday we go have this local place, Rubbin' Butts, right? Barbecue place. And so we roll over there to go eat as a team. And I 1980s it. I told them we're 1980s in it. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, we're putting the cell phones up. Get off the cell phones. And so they put the cell phones up and it's quiet until it's not. You know, they start playing this imposter game. They start doing things. And then you just start watching that, man, they're kids, you know, and they care for each other. You know, I get wrapped up in the basketball aspect of things just the other day. Okay. And so this is the best way and I don't know if I'm answering your question or not, but there's certain things that pop in my head that happen. So we are e-learning because we have 2 inches of snow and it shuts everything down here. Right? 2 inches of snow. It was like 6 inches. I mean, we had a lot.
Scott, be safe. Okay? Be safe.
I mean, we had a lot more than that, but I'm just saying, like, it shuts down, which I'm okay with because I don't mind e-learning too much. So I'm sitting there, and so Emma tells me, you know, Emma comes up and she's like, man, I didn't think we had a Google Meet, this Zoom call, whatever, for class, right? And she goes, Brooklyn is blowing me up. Like, yo, we have a meet. You got to get on. And so, man, sometimes I got to take a step back and like, these kids look out for each other, right? It's not just, I don't know, man. I think that just goes so far. Sometimes we get wrapped up on what it looks like and what this is. But those moments like that, man, it puts me in check. Like, these kids really care about each other and they're going to be lifelong friends. Like, you know, I don't know how many high school friends you guys have. I mean, I have a couple, right? But I do feel like there's this group here. They're going to be friends. They're going to lean on each other a lot in the next few years.
Yeah, Emma Shane, Division I commit to Vermont, and Brooklyn Wren, who I'll ask this next question about, is your 4-star. Look, 25 points a game, 11 rebounds. Every time, Scott, you and I talk, you know, more often than maybe people realize, but every time I turn you guys on, she looks better. Right. Like, I credit her trainers, I credit you, I credit the team around her. She is just, she's going to go to Lawrence, Kansas, and play the best basketball of her life. Give us the give us something on Brooklyn. Like, I mean, again, this is a predominantly Indianapolis audience who know who Brooklyn Wren is, maybe through the club circuits and things like that. They certainly saw her commitment, but I mean, that's not who Brooklyn Wren is. You're telling stories about her texting Emma Shane about a Zoom. Like, what is behind the 25 and 11?
Danny, I'm gonna tell you, man. Like this kid, like what people don't realize though on all that stuff, and I'm sure other kids get this stuff, but it's hard being a kid like that, right? If you don't get 20 and 20, people question stuff, like, oh, are you really a 4-star? Are you really a Kansas kid? And here's the thing I'll tell you about Brooklyn: it's never about her. She is one of the best distributors of the basketball. Like, we can play through her and not worry about her worrying about how many points she gets or, how many minutes she gets. She gets a lot of minutes. Don't lie. I mean, I'd be stupid not to get a lot of minutes, but
yeah, exactly.
And we want her to score, that's the thing, but she's such a willing distributor. But I'm going to tell you, man, the last 3 weeks, the 4 weeks to watch her game elevate. I mean, Danny, I'm telling you, her game has went to her games went to another level, and just the smoothness, just the non-emotional, just I'm here to do my job. I want to win. And just to watch her game grow like that, because as a freshman, you know how it is. You get these kids, they're freshmen, they got all these accolades and all this pressure on their shoulder, and they feel like if they don't score 25, 28, 30 points a game, that they're not very good, right? And people say that. Oh, you didn't score this, you didn't do that. But with her, to watch her growth from her freshman year to now, in that she's just, man, she's dialed in. And I can honestly say, like, I told her this the other day. I thought, I know we played Scottsburg in the section. We played Jennings County on Saturday. Molly, freaking phenomenal. Ernst I love that girl. She's so phenomenal. But was one of Brooklyn's best games. She ended up with 25 points in the game. That's what she ended up. Man, it was the quietest 25 I've ever seen, because she did so much other stuff, and so, like I said, she's figuring things. Her best basketball is ahead of her.
Yep.
She doesn't even scratch a surface of what she's going to be when she gets out there to Lawrence, Kansas, and they can actually put their hands on her, and they can actually get her in the weight room, and they can actually do some things with her. My gosh, I think that sky's the limit. You haven't seen the best Brooklyn Wren yet.
Yeah, and obviously Brooklyn is a key piece. I could ask about Emma Shane. I could ask about Emily Robinson. I mean, you do have key pieces. I'm going to tell you a quick story before I ask my last question, and then Hank will get us out of here. But a few years ago, you called me about a kid, Jocelyn Chesser. Okay. Right. And you had said, hey man, like I need this kid in a good situation. I'm trying to find a really good coach for her. I'm trying to find a really good situation so she can develop. You said this, I don't know if you remember, I'm paraphrasing, but I think the quote was something along the lines of, she's not important to me now, but she's going to be really important.
I remember the conversation.
Okay. And here she is.
Right.
I mean, she's really important, man. Every game, it's like her matchup and how she's guarded affects Brooklyn Wren. Right. Her collapse into the middle and her touches gets, Emma Shane threes, things along those lines. That's the kid I want you to talk about. Talk about Chesser and her importance in the remainder of this sectional run for you in Silver Creek.
I'm going to tell you right now, man, she didn't play on Tuesday because she had strep. She's back, right? She's good, but she didn't feel good. She had strep. I mean, she had 102 temperature. And so she didn't play. And our offense doesn't flow nearly as well, when you got a kid like that. But, a great story about her, how important she is so they asked early in the year, in the radio, the glycod thing, they said, they asked Emma and Brooklyn and Jocelyn, what do you want to be remembered for, right? Your legacy, basically, is what it was. And so Brooklyn and Emma went through their thing, and they're in both of them. Like Emma has a great legacy, hardest worker. Man, that girl. You look at her walk down the street, you think a Division I player, whatever. That kid is a self-made basketball player, the hardest worker I ever coached. Right? Get to Jocelyn. They go to Jocelyn, and she kind of sat there for a minute. Her dad even said this. Her dad goes, "I didn't know what she was going to say on that." And you know what her answer to this was? And man, it was so powerful. She said, I guess when I think about my legacy, it's sometimes you got to wait for your opportunities. And then you got to take advantage of them. And I told her, man, I'm going to tell you that was so powerful because that's exactly who that kid is. Like she's been playing she's been raised in the weeds. She's been playing behind really good players. And she's waited till her senior year. And I remember having that conversation. I'm like, look, man, that cat right now is not. She's not going to play a ton for me, but I knew this year, like you got to, as a coach, you got to plan things out. You can't just get wrapped up in the moment of that moment, right? You got to look forward a little bit. And man, she has developed in like, I'm going to tell you right now, if we win or lose this whole thing, I don't even know what that means. I don't know. We may very well get bounced tomorrow night, right? And we could, because Charlestown's really, really good. But we will win or lose, not because of Emma Shane, not because of Brooklyn Wren, not because of Emily Robinson. We will win or lose because of Jocelyn Chesser, Lucy Troutman, Kirsten Thompson, Kate Campbell, and I could keep naming kids. That's why we will lose or win, and that's our message today. It was very clear, Danny, Hank. It was very clear. You gotta trust each other. Look to your left, look to your right. We're not here. That's why we're here. We're here because the people sitting next to you. It's not about you. It's bigger than you. And so Jocelyn Chester is a kid that she's just been waiting in the weeds, man. And now that cat is ready. I mean, she's played so well for us, and she is. God, I wish she'd move her feet a little faster. But hey, that's life. That's life.
If she guards Chesney, she's gonna have to.
No, I tell her all the time, like, I would move your feet.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Scott, it's always great catching up with you, man. Thanks so much for hopping on with us. Best of luck here on Friday. Hopefully we'll be talking in a couple of weeks.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. Hey, go Dragons, baby. Go Dragons.
Let's go.
Take her easy, Scott. We'll talk to you.
See you guys. Thank you all.
See you, man.
Scott Shane with us here on the score. The man's instant offense, Danny. There's no other way to put it.
Instant. That's why he leads the show.
Instant offense. We're going to go from there. We're going to jump over now to Maryrose Felling from Triton Central. Hey, Maryrose. Triton Central has a big game coming up Friday against Eastern Hancock. Maryrose, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Good to see you. How are things?
They're good. We're all pretty excited to play in sectionals, but I think that we know that our sectional is pretty difficult, but I think once we get by this, we can beat anyone. And I think this is like the past 3 years, this has been like the hump that we can't get by, but I think we got it this year. So
there you go.
You addressed the thing that I was going to ask about at some point, or let Danny take the bullet for it, but that hump being Eastern Hancock, losing streak.
Definitely.
What has it been, I guess, that's prevented you guys from getting, like, is there one consistent that you've seen over the years, I guess, and just what's kind of the key to getting over that hump?
I don't know. I feel like we haven't lost by that much each time. So it's hard to say that it's one certain thing, but I don't know. I feel like the past 3 years, they've just outplayed us every single time. And I don't think that's going to happen tomorrow. I think that they're really good and they've continued to be really good. I mean, Kinsey's really good. I think that they all play around her so well. I think if we limit her production and we limit everything that she does, I think we got it. I hope so. So
it doesn't sound like there's a mental block for you guys. Like, it just sometimes, like that can set in. Like, it seems like you guys are still pretty confident. And it's not like a mental thing they have to get through.
Yeah, I think our team has been pretty young the past 3 years, I would say. So I think I've just been trying to tell them, each year you get smarter and you get better each year, and it all starts in practice and everything like that. So I just think that I think we're all really prepared defensively, especially against a team that has one really, really good player and then a bunch of players around her that can shoot and can do everything whenever she doesn't have the ball in her hands. And it's really hard to play against teams like that. So because you never know who's going to go off and you never know who's going to help Kinsey or if she's the only one that's going to do it all. So, yeah.
So from a fan perspective and just people that watch the rivalry, I mean, Hank was going to ask about it. It's the first question on my notes too. And you mentioned it before we could even broach the question, but this is the last time that we'll see Felling and Cook. I mean, we see it in the regular season. We've seen it in sectionals. You guys always bring out the best in each other. Kind of a weird way to ask this, but what has Kenzie Cook meant to you, in your construction of a player and making you better and preparing you for moments like this?
That's a good question. We went to Butler camp together, and that's where we met, actually. And I think I just learned so much about her, and I learned that she loves to compete, and so do I. And I think that's why our teams always end up meshing so well together. And that's why it's a rivalry now. But I think that I don't know. I think that just how we both love to compete, and when we get to that stage of two teams that are very similar playing against each other, I think we just play up to each other's level, and I think it ends up working out pretty well.
I'll give you a little break from the Eastern Hancock Kenzie Cook fatigue that I'm sure you have. But let's go back to Maryrose. What was it, like 13 or 14 straight games in the middle of the season? Okay, like you go on a winning streak like that. Like winning is fun.
Mhm.
You learn a lot about each other. You become closer as a unit, become closer as a team. You don't win 13 or 14 games all the same way. So you learn how to win. What did you personally, or what do you think Triton Central learned through that big winning streak, 13 and 14 games in the middle of the season, right in the lion's share of the winter?
I think playing all those teams, like Coach Folston, our assistant coach, like reminded us so many times, like keep asking yourself the question, will this help us win in sectional? And I think all those, however you said, 14 teams that we won against, they were all so different. Like it was Batesville with like the 3/4 court trap, or it was New Pal who just is pressure man the entire time. Like every team was so different. And I think that Eastern Hancock plays a lot of, I know I'm talking about them again, but they play a lot of different defenses. But I think that it makes us become ready for anything. So yeah.
Anyway, you just ask about Eastern Hancock again, but like, I mean, it's who you play. It's who you play. It's who you play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, how do you not? I mean, okay, so let's quantify this. Okay, I think it's 3 of the last 4 years Eastern Hancock has been a team in sectionals that has knocked you out. You had mentioned that you have played close games. Like I think earlier in the year, I think you played a 1-point game. I think last year you played a 3-point game. The year before in the regular season was another 1-possession game. At what point in sectional preparation, as a senior leader of this team, somebody who the coaches listen to and talk to about that, at what point do you try something different? Or is this just, hey, listen, we got to be us and let's not, rewrite the script here. Let's just do this. It is different when you're on one side of that rivalry and then the other side of the rivalry. So where's your head at with all this? Like, what's your communication with the coaches without giving away any like trade secrets? Like we're going to run this on defense or anything.
Yeah, I think it definitely gets repetitive when 2 teams play each other as much as we do. But I think when it gets that repetitive, you start to think about what you can do and you don't really think about what the other team does. That's what Coach Graham always tells us. Like, we have to worry about us and what we can do, because when you play a team that many times the past 2 years, and Kinsey was a freshman when I was a sophomore, so we've been playing each other for 3 years straight. And I think we just need to focus on us, and they know exactly what plays we're going to run. We know exactly what plays they're going to run. I mean, they've probably been practicing them just like we have. So we know what they're doing. They're not going to throw anything at us that we haven't seen before. So.
Well, the fourth quarter of the regular season matchup, I screened that game. I mean, you and Kenzie in the fourth quarter it was just unbelievable theater. Like, it's just like, I'm not going to let Triton Central lose. I'm not going to let Eastern Hancock lose. You guys went back and forth in the fourth quarter. Okay. You get to tell me one kid on Triton Central that you kind of see as it maybe not the key, but kind of an X factor. Like, hey, this kid's going to play well. She had a great week of practice. Is really critical to us. Tell me about one of your teammates that you expect big things from tomorrow.
I mean, I could give you 3, but
give them.
Give us 3.
Okay. Layla Compton is she's become such a good defender. I mean, she played JV her freshman year and she's developed so much. Like those 3, Kate Collier, Layla Compton, Quinn King, they're all in the same grade. They've developed. I've gotten to watch them become so good and varsity starters, and I'm so proud of them. And Quinn, I think Quinn's going to be such a key tomorrow night, especially against Oldenburg. I don't know if you guys watched that game, but she played so good. And I think when we're both on like that, it's really hard for teams to beat us, especially like I said, when things get repetitive like this. So Layla is going to be such a key defensively. So is Kate. So, yeah.
On the offensive end, Maryrose, you mentioned Quinn, and I was going to ask about her. And Kate Collier too, specifically, just their increase in scoring and how that's kind of made things easier for you and opened things up for you.
Yeah, like I said, when they were younger, it was a little tough because I had 1 whole year of varsity experience ahead of them, and even though that doesn't seem like a lot, it is a lot, and it was pretty tough last year. But I think that they've developed so much, and I think that they take such good shots, and I think we all just play really good as a team. So
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Maryrose, it's great to see you. Great talking to you. Best of luck here on Friday, and hopefully we'll be talking again soon.
Thank you.
Take care.
Good luck.
Maryrose Felling of Triton Central. Danny, we only in a way that we can. We are behind schedule, so we're going to keep bouncing along here. We'll catch a bit of a break here with Cade and Soke. Allowed us a little more time there. I'm going to go ahead and bring on Lexi Primus of Northrop.
Hi.
Hey, Lexi, how are you?
I'm sorry, I can't hear Hank. I can
you
hear
guys hear-
Danny just fine, but for
You
some
can hear
reason I'm
Danny,
having
but
trouble hearing.
I haven't spoken yet. Can you hear me?
No, I'm having trouble hearing Hank.
Danny, you take this one. She can't hear me.
Lexi, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you?
So, okay, good. So you
I'm
can hear me.
Yeah.
Well, look, North Knox, South Knox. Like, we just got done with like the Eastern Hancock, Triton Central thing. I mean, they play during the regular season. It's the same matchups. It's the same thing. And not to be unoriginal, but North Knox, South Knox is very much the same way. And this will punctuate your North Knox, South Knox kind of rivalry. So I'm going to ask you a broad question to kind of open it up. The imagery to us of a North Knox, South Knox rivalry is, the red and the blue and the students and the division and so on and so forth. I mean, what's the imagery for you? Like, how will you remember this rivalry when you're speaking about it with your friends or when you're in college thinking about it?
I mean, this is definitely a rivalry I'm gonna remember for the rest of my life. It's been like that for like the past 3 years. I don't think I really saw it much as big as it is now as I did as a freshman. It kind of grew over time, I thought, and that's because how good both teams got over the years, and it's just been a really fun and competitive game every single year. I look forward to this game every single year, and it's always it's always exciting, it's always really loud, and it's always a really good game by the end of the day.
Do you have a moment or a couple moments that just really stand out, and whether it was something that led to a win or a loss or something that you will romanticize in your mind when you think about this?
Definitely a time that I remember is my sophomore year when we played them in sectionals. It was a really good game. It was back and forth in that entire game. But at the end, we were ahead by 5 and we ended up winning. And that was a game that I'll remember for the rest of my life, just because of how fun and exciting that game was.
Lex, can you hear me? No, she still can't. Danny, I was going to ask her about just the build-up around town leading into this game and what it's like in town. If you want to be my translator.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
I can't.
No, that's okay. So he's actually translating through me. Hank, you can put some questions in the chat also, and I can send them up that way. He was asking about the build-up in town, something that I'm much interested in also. This one is a little bit unique because it's not played at North Knox or South Knox. It's played off-site at Eastern Green. Can you pull the curtain a little bit and kind of share with us what the build-up around school and around town and the community has been?
Yeah, I mean, it's been the talk of the community for all I've heard. I mean, it's been the talk for all this year. Whether it was the regular season game, everybody was talking about sectionals from the beginning of this year is the North Knox South Knox matchup. It's they're always talking about it. It's always questions like, what are you gonna do? Like, how are you gonna defend South Knox? Like, what are you gonna do on offense? There's so many questions throughout the entire year, and now it's like you can feel it around the entire community. Everybody's asking questions. Everybody's like wanting to know about the big game. It's the talk of the town right now.
Bailey Senior, Jade Senior, yourself, you're a senior. You look across the way and they're led by underclassmen. I mean, Kendall is a junior, Grace is a junior. We talked earlier in the week about some other games about how age and experience matter. Are you guys leaning into that? You guys are an old bunch, very experienced, very long in the tooth. Just kind of tell us about how much your experience will help you in this game.
Yeah, it'll be a tremendous help for us, and all 4 seniors have had so much experience on varsity for a while now. And I'm not saying that the underclassmen at South Knox haven't, because they have a lot of experience there too.
That's true.
They've had a lot of varsity time, but so have we. And I think that experience with all 4 of us seniors will really help us. And I think it'll be a really tough matchup for us, and I think it'll help though.
Lexi, I'm going to ask you a question. A couple of guests ago, we had Scott Schoen on here, and Silver Creek plays Charlestown. It will be the rematch. And that changes preparation because now there's film study against the actual opponent within the same year with the same people that you're going to be playing against. What has changed with your preparation? You have the game that you played against South Knox earlier that ended on the bad side on the north side. How has that changed your preparation, having played them already this season?
Yeah, I mean, it really helps. I'm sure it helps both sides. We've watched and studied so much film ever since, and not only just that film, but all the games that we had in that stretch of December. We played a lot of very competitive games, and we learned a lot from all of those games, and I think it was a great teaching moment for us and a great learning lessons for us. We spent hours in the film room, not only after that game, but after those stretches of games, and I think it'll really help us, and we're very prepared now. So
Lexi, you only have 8 games on Max Preps. I don't know your statistics. I only go off what I can get on the internet, okay? But through 8 basketball games this year, okay, 51% from 3, 97% from the line, 55%. Like, those are video game numbers. You're a senior. You're a Division I recruit. You've been involved on the club circuit. You've been involved in this rivalry. You've been a part of the #1 team for a long time. Talk to me about you this year and where you think your game is now and where the ceiling is for it.
I think there's a lot of room for improvement still. I spent a lot of time in the gym this season or over the summer. But I think at the beginning of this year, I really wanted to put my foot down and it was all gas. I wanted to make sure
For you
that I don't know. I just really want to make sure my hard work really paid off this year, and so far it has, and I want it to continue throughout the season. I feel like it don't really mean a lot if we don't get to go far this year, and I want to make sure that happens for us.
Have you settled into a different role this year, like from a leadership perspective and your responsibilities outside of what you have to do on the floor? And Coach has talked to Hank quite a bit, and Steve's talked about how you've really kind of grown into a different person. Can you qualify that statement that your coach made to Hank?
Yeah. So in my past, like as an underclassman and even last year, I had very talkative seniors every year that's taught me to be a good senior leader. And I think being a senior now and the seniors that I have, we've all kind of taken that step up and been good leaders for underclassmen. But I'm not very talkative, which I still need to work on that. But whether it's just telling them where to go as a point guard or helping them out on defense, that's what I try to help.
Lexi, I'll get you out on this. Give me a key to the game. Okay, actually 2 questions. Okay, so I have one after this, but give me a key to the game without, it's always difficult talking to somebody pregame because you don't want to ask a question because your mind is consumed with the game plan and scouting report and things like that. But is there something maybe broad or top level that you can tell us that may be a key to the game that maybe we should watch for?
Well, we want to make sure we stay relaxed and calm. I mean, it's a lot of pressure. This game is. It's going to be loud. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be ups and downs to the games. They're going to have runs. We're going to have runs. I think us making sure we're calm and knowing the game isn't over yet. If we get down or if we're up, it's not over. We still have a lot of the game left. So I think just staying calm throughout the game is a main point.
Lexi, and kind of a personal question. I don't know if you watched the show. I kind of joked that if North Knox and South Knox played in the semifinal, that I would drive down to Eastern Green. What time do I need to get there?
Oh, my God.
Do I need to get there? I mean, is there going to be a line formed around like the town center? Like, I don't.
There was
Lexi,
a long
you know me well
line
enough
last
to
year.
know. I want to walk in. I want to have my seat kind of roped up,
That's a great question. I couldn't tell you, to be honest.
Very good. Very good. Well, Lexi, good luck tomorrow
Thank you.
with South Knox. I can just tell you personally, as we have gotten to know, we as in our entire audience has gotten to know this North Knox, South Knox rivalry better. The story of that rivalry is not told without you and your contributions to it. So good luck tomorrow, whether you get to advance or not, or whether you punctuate it. It's been a joy to watch you, cover you, talk about you, and good luck. Lexi Primus,
so much.
senior at North Knox.
Bye.
Thanks, Lex. She couldn't hear me say thanks. I know I said thanks. It's fine. Let's see. We're gonna find out now if Sokeland can hear us. He has this like little shit-eating grin, so I hope that means So can hear me. So can you hear me?
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh, thank God.
Guys, I'm not a journalist. How was my readout?
That was beautiful. You did great.
Yeah.
I give it 10 out of 10.
You may need extra time to find Eastern Green because it is in the middle of nowhere.
Listen, that's the one thing that like it's no brainer, man. If it's just like one, 60, 69 and then an exit, or 65 and an exit, but I got to navigate something. Yeah, and Scott Shane told us they got 2 inches of snow. Like, oh my God,
2 inches of snow.
We got 14. I don't know what he's complaining about.
No,
can we talk about Riego too in this? You know me, I like to walk in and I have a seat roped off.
That's
like it's walked in.
No, but listen, but hang on a second. So, because we walked into Sectional 8 and I had my pick between 3,000 seats with nobody next to him. That one isn't going to be like that. So
that's a good point. So let's start with North Knox, South Knox, because we just had Lexi on, and that's when I constructed this guest list. I was like, man, I'm going to nail this with Soak. We're going to go right into North Knox. What are your early, 50,000 foot view on that matchup?
It's probably going to be a 40 to 35 game, and because that's what it always is, right? I mean, that team last year from South Knox probably was the outlier in that rivalry because they were just going to bulldoze everybody on the way to that championship. But just typically how it goes, and unfortunately, I too have not been able to get up there to watch that game live simply because Evansville North has their event every December on that same day. Sectionals always run around here, but typically that it just is I wouldn't call it a fist fight, but pretty much as close as you can get to it. And it probably will be again unless somebody just catches fire like Lexi or Kendall.
This is kind of one for both of you guys, everybody to chew on. North Knox has some scoring depth, but I think it's fair to say they're going to go as Lexi Primus goes. South Knox, they have Kendall Hill, super important, but it seems like there's maybe just a little bit more depth there. Like she can be okay, and they have enough pieces to pick it up. I guess, is that a tight read on it? How do you guys analyze that side of things? Just roster construction, lineup, player importance, that sort of thing.
Go ahead.
I saw North Knox once. It was against Central at the Hatchet House, and I think they were at their best when Lexi kind of got going there, maybe second or third quarter. Like she struggled to start the game. I think that's why Central built a lead. I wouldn't say coasted because that was around the time they started to turn a corner and play really good basketball. But I think North Knox you're right. If Primus can score and be the Division I player that she is, then North Knox can win that game.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely one of those games I think that's like everything is interconnected and consequential with how the game is played. And just kind of reverting back to our coverage of the regular season matchup when North Knox and South Knox played, one of the things that we talked about after South Knox's win was how, and we had Kendall Hill on, actually, we interviewed her and asked her about this, and she confirmed it. North Knox switched everything in that game, and on those switches, South Knox seemed to be very cognizant of certain matchups that they wanted to try to exploit. I think that's the what to watch. I think that's the story. If Sokeland's prognostication that it's going to be a 40 to 35 game is in fact true, then it's a metric-based game. Like just getting to 40 then and being as efficient as you can on the offensive end, I think is going to be really important for both sides to be. But we saw the efficiency of South Knox and what they were trying to do. So my question that I will throw out rhetorically here as the what to watch is, what does North Knox do defensively? I certainly have not watched them enough to know that if they switch everything all year and that's just who they are and what they will be, or if that was a special that they put in for that game. But that's what I'm going to be watching, is how these teams defend each other in quarter court, because if you only have to get to 40, and I'm not sure that Soak isn't dead on with that. These games are always really tight games, and they're all pretty low scoring. So let's see particularly how North Knox decides to switch or not switch against the South Knox actions.
I'll keep us moving here because we're a little bit behind schedule, and there's some other games we want to get to here with Soak. Let's talk Washington Princeton. Danny and I had a chance to catch up with a couple girls from Washington last week. Obviously, that Princeton game is one that's stuck in their craw. But Kyle, how do you prognosticate that one?
Well, if that would happen, I think that's on Saturday. So
Yeah, Saturday. I'm sorry.
yeah, they have to beat. I think Washington plays Vincennes and Princeton gets Southridge. They'll both be heavy favorites, but I think it comes down to Washington. Just like they're the favorite for a reason. They've got 2 1,000-point scorers. London Gilly's playing really well, and then I saw them hit a bunch of threes to beat Evansville North. So they've got some pieces. But I did talk to Gretchen after that game. She said Princeton just came out on fire like she had not seen before. And Allie Taylor scored 31. So for Princeton, it's that if those guards score and get up and down the floor and really control the pace, they've got the, I guess, gusto, because Travis Connor teams play hard. And like I'm not kidding. For years, that's what they've done. When he was here, when he's been at Vincennes, Lincoln, they're going to play hard. So I just think that for me, that's if Washington plays like they typically can, then I think they not coast through because it's going to be a tough battle, but they've got the pieces to win that game. But if Princeton hits threes and plays like they did against them at the Hatchet House, mind you, then it could be really interesting.
Well, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but Prince, like I think you said this, I might have been looking at my phone. Princeton beat him, right? Earlier in the year?
Yep.
That was the, yeah. Okay.
Washington in overtime.
I gotcha. Before we move on to the next game, I think my thought here would be age and experience again, right? I mean, Princeton is a senior-laden team, and Washington is a senior-laden team. And Chuckman and Hawk and Reed and even Gilly is a long in the tooth junior. And then, Taylor, Dame, Jones at Princeton, like all seniors, right? And so if age and experience do matter, then I think it's a pretty good chance that we will see Washington and Princeton on Saturday night, and I think that will be great theater to watch. Sok, I want to shift over to the Wrights and Castle and kind of what's going on in that sectional. Help us make sense of it, because we know Castle has good players. We know that they're used to playing in games like that. We know that Wrights has good players. We've talked about their youth and Wagner and Mitchell, and we talked about Hape and her effectiveness, but just 30,000 foot view here, kind of navigate that sectional for us. What should we be watching? What are the critical matchups? What precedent has been set there for what happened earlier in the year?
And Gibson Southern too fits in.
Gibson
there.
Southern, yes. Apologies.
Yeah, that's the first big matchup because Friday Wrights plays Gibson Southern in the first semifinal. I believe they played earlier in the year and Wrights thumped them. Like it was like a 9 a.m. start in the Toyota Classic on the road.
Bad.
I haven't seen a box score. I haven't talked to either coach about that game specifically, but I just saw the score and it got bad quickly. But I think this Gibson Southern team is definitely better than they have been since November. I was there that first night when they got walloped by Evansville Central by a running clock first night. And now they've got Paige Snell's playing great. They've got some guards who have grown, and a couple, I think at least one or two that were at least on the roster for that state championship run, in addition to Paige. So they've got some experience too, in addition to playing a freshman in Avery Paradin. So just who style wins. Rice is going to want to run up and down the floor and create turnovers and create a mess. But Gibson has the post player. And if they can slow that down and get Paige the ball inside, they've got a shot. And of course, I would expect them to play Castle in the championship. It's nothing against Evansville Harrison. They've got some decent athletes. They're just very young and very inexperienced. And I just don't know if that bodes well against a Castle team that had just – it's on a roll. I think they won 13 straight games after beating Evansville North on Tuesday. So, and then if it gets to that championship game, the one that everyone, I don't know if it wants to see, but is anticipating and looking forward to would be the Wrights Castle rematch, which I've said this to people, Wrights has not beaten Castle in 34 years, which
What?
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy because, just it is what it is. Wrights had a downturn for several years and struggled to have competitive teams where Castle's been top 2, 3, maybe even the best overall program in the last 25 years around here. But then Rice is on the uptick, and they just can't seem to get over the hump. That first matchup, it just felt like deer in headlights first 5-6 minutes. Finally got back into it, and then 1 of 11 at the free throw line in the fourth quarter, Castle pulled away. So until it happens, the Rice is going to have to find a way to get – I think it's a mental block. They just have to get over the name on that jersey.
Can they do it?
I think they can. They're super talented. not many teams around here can play that speed. They've got length. I mean, they're all like 5'6", 5'7", 5'8". And then Kendall Kaiser's like a 6-foot power forward playing the 5 for them. And then they can shoot. I mean, we've seen Ryan Wagner get hot. Bailey Hape, some struggles this year, but we all seen her for 4 years. She can get hot super quick. So they can shoot threes. They can just get up and down. They force a lot of turnovers. And it's just that the metrics point to them as being the best team in sectional. And it's probably right. I just think Castle is neck and neck with them.
6th longest winning streak in that series, I think, according to John Harrell's. I look at that, tied for 6th at 35 games. And that might not even encompass the whole thing because that's just since the turn of the century. So
yeah, that doesn't include the sectional or the old SIC tournament if they play each other. So it might be closer to 50.
Holy smokes, that would make it the longest current winning streak in the series, which is nuts. Soke, where are you going to be this weekend?
Friday night I'll be at 4A, at least for the first game. I don't know if I can make it over to Central for that second semifinal when they play Boonville, but at minimum I'll be at Castle on Friday night and then definitely Saturday, depending on if it's that matchup.
Yeah. Speaking of Central, before we get you out of here, Maddie Shirley clears not only 2,000 career points, but also gets over the 1,000 career rebound mark. It's pretty special for her. We knew it was an inevitability for a while. We just had a gag order placed on us. But yeah, I mean, just a phenomenal talent, that one.
Yeah, I think it's 13 ever, and including after that's with Lanai Wills.
Lanai Wills, yeah.
I mean, I wrote about it. It's incredible. I mean, only the second Evansville girls basketball player along with Mara Minsterman for the old Mater Dei star, who's on staff at Mater Dei now and had to game plan and coach against Maddie a few times. So yeah, I wrote about it. It just puts Maddie's career in a different perspective, just considering how rare both those milestones are. Just to get them at the scene within days of each other, honestly, because they played North on Friday afternoon. And then Saturday night, she gets the 2,000, and she knew it. She knew she was close, but it just very cool milestone. And honestly, I mean, I've got some bias because I've covered her for 4 years and I've watched her in all of her big moments. It doesn't surprise me. This is just Maddie. What Maddie does. She just keeps doing this over and over.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, it's good seeing you, buddy. Have fun this weekend. I'm sure we'll have you on bright and early Sunday morning to talk about that championship game.
Yeah, 6 a.m., right?
Yeah, we'll pre-record it for 6 a.m. Central. It's a little early for Danny, but you and I can just sit here and chop it up.
All right. Sounds fun, guys.
Thanks. I don't think he's as excited about his appearance on Sunday as we are. That's fine. He was asking to come on tonight. He can't deny that. Let's go ahead and bring on Cade Hampton. Where's Cade? Why isn't Cade showing up? Oh, there he is. Hey, Cade, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Can y'all hear me okay?
Hey, Cade.
Yeah, we can hear you. I was worried that we had another microphone situation where you couldn't hear us. You've got quite the sectional up there.
Okay, no, I hear you guys. Perfect. What's that?
You have quite the sectional up there, and you got a really good Friday night coming up here with the games that you have with Jay County taking on Delta. Let's just start there while we're on it. You saw the regular season matchup here just a couple weeks ago. Give us your initial thoughts, takeaways from that. We'll dive a little deeper in on it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Like you said, very loaded sectional in 3A, 24 up at Yorktown. And that Delta-Yorktown matchup was a very, very good game in the regular season. Delta kind of got ahead early, and Jay County really punched back in the second half and pulled out a victory. They, I think, have one of the better records in this sectional against sectional opponents in the regular season. And Delta, hasn't really finished this season very strong. They're kind of the reigning champs, and they're the reigning champs in this bracket. And I think they've lost their last 3 games heading into this tournament. So a little bit of a slow going stretch there for the Eagles. And I know they really want their get back against Jay County in that semifinal. So should be a really good game. Obviously, with Jay County, you've got the Schwederman sisters with Carson and Hallie really just carrying the load offensively, but I think the rest of that team is really starting to click around them. You've got players like Elizabeth Brunswick, Raylan Newton, who are playing really well, and they're kind of on a roll, kind of on opposite track for Delta. I think Jay County's won 4 in a row, starting with that Delta win. So pretty interesting matchup. I think it'll be another close game. I believe it was only a 4-point game the first time, and it should be very fun.
Cade, what have you seen with Delta? I know that when we saw them together up in January or December, whenever it was at Wings and Rings, they're a little banged up, missing some pieces. They've since gotten healthy. You mentioned it. They've kind of stumbled a little bit here down the stretch. Lost to Shelbyville after that. Lost to Mount Vernon. I mean, what have you seen? What has Coach been saying about that group and where they're at?
Yeah. Coach Benning, I mean, I've talked to her a couple of times, throughout the year, and I actually just saw her on Friday. I was at their boys game and she was there. And the thing that she always brings up is just confidence. I think that kind of has been something that has fluctuated for them throughout the year, just up and down as far as approaching their games with the confidence and intensity that they really brought to the table last year that really kind of carried them on that first regional championship run in program history. So they really, it has, especially at Wings and Rings, like you talked about. I mean, you kind of noticed them kind of lacking that intensity. And a big part of that was Addie Barnes, their senior guard, being hurt. She really adds a lot of that kind of fire and spark to that team. But like you said, they've gotten healthy, and it still has kind of been up and down. And they kind of did this last year too. They won the county tournament, and then their last couple of games afterwards, they took a couple of losses and then ended up turning it around and winning the sectional. But these last couple of losses have really not been pretty. I think they lost to Shelbyville by 24, and there was another game they lost too at the end there. I can't remember now, but I know Coach Benning, the confidence. Yeah, Mount Vernon. Yeah, that was it. So the big thing for them has just been getting their confidence back, getting their nastiness back. That was actually the exact terminology that Coach Benning used on Friday. She said they spent their practice just getting nasty. So if Delta can effectively bring that kind of nastiness back that they like to play with, then I think they can certainly turn it around and win this sectional for the second straight year.
So regardless of the outcome, I mean, I'm going to ask for your kind of overall thoughts on Jillian Barr's career. And I'm certainly not punctuating it, but you know, she wins the sectional last year. She's a 26. She could very conceivably be playing her last basketball game in high school this weekend. If she gets on, it will be the second consecutive year, and maybe the narrative changes. But you've covered her. Talk about your coverage of Jillian Barr, what you've seen through the progression of this, and what you expect to see from her this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Jillian is really a great player. Has been one of the better, if not the best player in this area over the last 2 years. And she actually, funny that you mentioned her, she actually is, I believe, 18 points away from becoming the all-time leading scorer for Delta girls basketball. So could manage to get that Friday night. 18 points is certainly not impossible for her. And then, if they manage to win, she'll have a pretty good chance to get that on Saturday night if she doesn't get it Friday. But yeah, I mean, she just, as far as, leadership goes, she's, a very, very talented, bright, and really understands the game. She's really kind of evolved, especially on the defensive side of the floor. She's really seems to have taken another step forward this year. But that entire senior core that they have with her, Addie Barnes, Elizabeth Bomadele, Griffin Knight, all of them do a lot of great things. They all are very comfortable in their roles this year. They've developed with Coach Benning for the last 3 years, except for Barnes, who has only been there for 2 years. But that whole core of seniors is really what has kind of carried them to the level of success that they've had these last 2 years. And obviously Jillian is kind of the star as far as scoring goes, but all four of them really have been crucial to that.
So you used twice in that the senior core. Okay. Delta is a senior laden team, and it's why they're good, and coupled with their talent. Jay County, on the other hand, I just the Schweiderman sisters, they all return. I mean, Hallie's a junior, she's going to return for her senior year. The other sisters are freshmen, and they will return. I think they only graduate one senior. Cade, I'm wondering if this is an ahead of schedule game for Jay County. Did they expect this, that, hey, we're going to be right here? And they're not just in this game against Delta. They're in this game with Delta, having beat Delta just 2 weeks prior. I mean, we talked about that, but if I tell you that Jay County is ahead of schedule by a year, you say what?
I say, I mean, yeah, it certainly feels like with the way that they've been clicking lately, especially like I mentioned, some of those younger players. Obviously, the Schwietermans are kind of the stars, but you do have some young players like Brunswick is only a sophomore. Charlotte Peters is only a freshman. She did some really nice things in that game against Delta I saw. And yeah, I mean, their coach, Sherry McIntyre, she told me straight up, she said, you know, she firmly believes that they can really compete for this sectional title this year. And I mean, looking at the roster, they might become, you know, a kind of a mainstay as far as contending for this sectional. And with the Schwieterman sisters, obviously both returning next year, they certainly could, yeah, I mean, really make a push. And for them to win this year, I think it would be their first in 20 years. I know that would mean certainly a lot for that program, but yeah, I mean, as far as being ahead of schedule, I mean, when you have a player as good as Hallie Schwieterman, I mean, they probably could have won this sectional conceivably last year. I think the way Delta was playing last year certainly made that very difficult, but this year it seems like kind of a different script. Jay County has really started to figure things out lately, and Delta kind of, you know, a little bit more rocky. So this game Friday night will be very, very good. And but yeah, I mean, Jay County definitely seems like they're ahead of schedule, and I would not be surprised if they're in a similar position next year as well.
I'll throw it back to Hank after I ask you this. I asked about Jillian Barr specifically. I should ask about Hallie as well. Just in your coverage of her, whether it's isolated to the Newcastle game and just her performance within the sectional, or kind of throughout the season or even multi-year. Tell us about it. What do we need to know about her? If we turn that stream on, we've certainly told you to watch Jillian Barr for Delta in that senior Layton class. Tell us about Hallie's game specifically, and out of your eyes, what you see.
Yeah, I mean, she's just really incredible. I mean, she can score from anywhere. She's got a great, you know, outside shot, great mid-range shot. She's very aggressive about, you know, driving inside and can do some good things there. But the way Delta defends, I mean, they defended her very, very well, especially the second quarter. She kind of got hot at the end of the first quarter last time they played. And then the second quarter, Addie Barnes, I mean, really with her defense of Schwieterman really kind of took over that game and gave Delta a lot of momentum. But I mean, with Hallie, if she's in her zone, I mean, she can really just take over. And obviously she, you know, is willing to do the dirty work on the defensive end as well. But I mean, yeah, just offensively, probably the most, you know, gifted scorer in this region. And her younger sister, Carson Schwieterman, as well. I mean, I think Carson actually at this point is leading that team in scoring. And she really has grown a lot more comfortable, it seems, as a playmaker. She had a lot of really great passes in that game I saw. And yeah, so, I mean, that really is just such a dynamic duo. Obviously, they have excellent chemistry. But yeah, just, I mean, that Schwieterman name in Jay County, their older sister, Renna Schwieterman, was inducted into their Hall of Fame this year. And so it's been a good time to be named Schwieterman out in Portland.
There's 4 of them. Are there 4 of them?
Yeah. There's Olivia Schwieterman is also a freshman on the roster this year. She doesn't really see as much playing time, but she is there, and I'm sure we'll get familiar with her over the next couple of years. But yeah, they got a lot. Family business.
Awesome stuff, Cade. Awesome stuff. Where are you going to be on Friday and Saturday?
I will be at Yorktown Friday and Saturday night, obviously covering that Delta Jay County game, but I'll also stick around for Connorsville versus the host Yorktown. I know Yorktown, even more so than Delta, I think they've lost their last 6 games. So hasn't been quite the season that they expected, but they have plenty of talent. Lily Sylvester, Olivia Conklin are a great, you know, scoring guard duo. And Yorktown certainly has the talent. I think they're certainly the big underdog kind of in that bracket, even as the host. But they have the talent. They have the ability to, you know, maybe surprise Connorsville and certainly push whoever they play in the championship if that's the case. But they've struggled to start games this year. It feels like first quarters they just have really started slow, and then they've been able to build some momentum in second halves, but they just have dug themselves in so many holes in the games that I've seen them play. So, yeah, I mean, Yorktown going to be tough for them. They're, I think, the, you know, only team in that bracket that wasn't above 500, but they certainly, I mean, they have the talent, they have the players to maybe pull off a surprise there. And then I'll also be Saturday for the sectional championship. Obviously, I'll have either Delta or Jay County playing in that one. So, and possibly, you know, playing against Yorktown. So should be a fun couple of games.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Cade, it was good catching up with you, bud. We'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yep.
Thanks,
Take
Cade.
care. Cade Hampton of the Star Press with us. You ready for another one?
Whether I'm ready or not, you're going. Let's go.
Damn right. We're bringing on now Elle McCulloch from Brownsburg. Brownsburg getting ready to take on rival Plainfield here on Friday night. Elle, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Sectional sickness has come around yet again, but we're fighting through. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to play. Big rival game tomorrow, so
yeah,
we're excited.
So is Sable, has he kind of dialed things back a little bit, let you guys take it a little bit easier as you try to get over the illness?
I mean, a little bit. We had a couple illnesses last week. I mean, it's bound to happen. No matter what you do, you could bathe yourself in hand sanitizer, and you're probably still gonna find a way to get sick. So, but no, we're ready. We're locked in. It's kind of interesting, you know, having the snow day. I mean, Scott Shane was complaining about 2 inches of snow. We got, you know, a whole snow day on Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday were 2-hour delays, and we were playing Bloomington South. So, you know, it's been back and forth. Balancing practices out, and so yeah, we had two dominant games last week, and you know, having a whole week to prep, it's like we've been able to go hard early on this week and sort of dial it back to make sure we're fresh, ready to compete tomorrow. So yeah.
The last time you and I talked was after that Hendricks County championship game when it was a late league got away again, and then you guys lose to Fishers, and I saw that, and I was kind of like, oh, is the mental toll kind of coming in and weighing you guys down? But then you turn around, you beat Westfield by 8. You beat Bloomington South by a lot, and then you set a record against Zionsville to close out the regular season. What has changed with this group? What's kind of started clicking? What's led to this late season success that's gotten you guys on a roll?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I noticed, I talked to you about, like, I think our players need to find confidence in themselves before we can, you know, really dominate as a team. And I think that's the biggest key. Everyone's really been confident in what they can do. And I think early on in the season, people were like, frustrated in a way of I'm not scoring, because there's so much emphasis in basketball on scoring. That's the thing that people like look at after the game. It's like, oh, who scored the most? But we have so many great players that don't really show up in that category, in that column. But like that team record against Zionsville, like sure I had 7 threes, but to make that we had 11 other threes that my teammates had to hit. And then that doesn't account for the assists that, you know, the people that had to get us the ball and make those hustle plays to even get the ball in our hands to shoot the ball. So just the fact that it's a team award, team record, I mean, is just like phenomenal, especially coming into the sectional week. So I'm super proud there. And like I said, I think it just, people are now more comfortable in understanding the roles. You know, Kenzie, Tolukian, Cadence Paddock, they're the hard hat. They're the go-getters. Like they will go do whatever it takes to win. We have the scorers. We have those people that can finish, like Gabby Harvey, Bree Brown. So, you know, I think we're just really like understanding our role, and it's really allowing us to like fit those pieces of a puzzle and to make us such a dominant team right now.
Has it felt different for you this year? You got up 137 attempts from the 3-point line. That's a very difficult thing to do just to get the volume, because everybody knows you shoot the 3, but you made 60 of them. That's 44%. Like that's a ridiculous percentage, when everybody knows that that's one of the skills that you bring to every basketball game. Where's your game at? Like, is that, I mean, you credited your teammates earlier. Is that really all it is? Or just talk to me about you and how you shot the ball this year and where your opportunities are coming from.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, you know, the biggest thing is like over this AAU season, that was really where I got a lot of my confidence. You know, you're playing the best competition day in, day out. All those circuit plays, you know, having Scott Shane be one of the assistants, get to learn a lot from him. TJ Perry, great coach. So I think I really was able to kind of define myself outside of just being a 3-point shooter, which has allowed me, you know, like if I was just a 3-point shooter, it'd be pretty easy for people to scout me, like just go cover up the line. But yeah, the fact that I am starting to become more of a threat going downhill, and whether that's a mid-range shot, I think that's helped me establish a more 3-point presence as well. And just, you know, being able to go off the move more. I think that was also a critical thing the AAU season I worked on, is, you know, having the confidence, being ready to shoot no matter what it is, whether it's coming off a screen or all that stuff. But I mean, yes, part of it is my own individual improvement, but I can't do it without people setting hard screens and getting me open and the assists. It really is a team sport. And yeah, so a lot of my success does go to my teammates.
Well, Elle, congratulations. You do seem to be playing really well. A couple episodes ago, Josh was on, stayed after, and we just, kind of had a virtual hangout. And he just naturally, through the course of the conversation, got to Joaquin and was like, a kid who does this and she doesn't do that, and then does this and doesn't do that. And all of the things that she does were positive in helping the team, and all the things that she didn't do are things that if you did them could be hurtful to a team culture. He really liked her. You have mentioned your teammates. You mentioned Harvey and her rebounding and Ava and all that passing. Centering on, where do you see that? Do you agree with Josh that she's been such an important piece, maybe a surprising piece a little bit with how important she's been to you? But tell us from your perspective as a team leader about Joaquin this year.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I remember the super team interview with Hank earlier on in the season. I said, Lanai Joaquin is going to be a sleeper, and I think that's proven to be true. She's the second leading scorer on our team, I believe. But I've seen everything in her from the start. Middle school, being a senior alongside me, I've played with her since third grade, I think. And yeah, she was actually like the leading scorer, like growing up, by far the best player on our team, I would say. Super great athlete, like track. She's super fast. She did volleyball for a bit. So, I think everything's like her athleticism just allows her to like be great at whatever she does. But yeah, I think she's just phenomenal. She's grown so much, kind of understands her role once again. She didn't get great opportunities freshman, sophomore, even last year. So being able to kind of get her back in the spotlight, it's just proving what I knew she could do all along. So yeah, I think she's been a sleeper and underestimated, and now people get to see what she truly was always able to do.
Well, Joaquin has woken up, and and Harvey relatively new to the roster as a sophomore, Emberton, of course, as a freshman, and Brown was there and you were there last year, but the makeup and the composition of the roster was so different, maybe obviously because of the presence of Avery Gordon. I actually learned a lot about Brownsburg in a loss this year. Elle, I actually learned a lot about you guys in the Pike loss, 90-78. And I think everybody looks at the L and everybody looks at the 90 that Pike put up, but you guys scored 78 points. Like, yeah, Hank's talking about the 18 and how you guys on the 18 threes and how you've unfolded and played really well offensively. Can you just talk about schematically and systemically how pace has been such a part of what you guys try to do this year and how much fun that's probably been and to play within that system?
For sure. I mean, I'm sure you guys already know Sable. This is kind of the system he always really loves to do, run and gun threes. That was proven in the Zionsville game. But yeah, getting back to that Pike game, I think that was kind of the turning point of our season. We were like, look, just take the pressure off, have fun. We only have a few games left with each other. So I think just knowing that and being at peace with, whatever we do is like, we're just out here to have fun, playing the sport that we love. And I think everyone just took a sigh of relief and we were able to just play freely. Like when the ball moves and we all play to our strengths, we are a very dominant team. Yeah, we did give up 90. We're definitely going to have to reel that back in. But yeah, still scoring 78 against the number one team in the state is really good.
They guard you.
Promising.
They guard you too. Like they really do. I'll ask this kind of built-in rivalries that extend over multiple years and multiple classes. Like Brownsburg was in big games with Plainfield long before you were a student at Brownsburg. But here you have Plainfield again, and the familiarity is just it's got to be something that is just, that they know everything that you're going to do because you know everything that they're going to do.
Yep.
How do you handicap or prepare mentally for a game when you just know that you're not going to see really anything new? What's been your preparation this week with that context of just having the same old rivalry to play?
Yeah, I think most of our players went and watched that BD game and Plainfield game live. The biggest thing that stood out for me is how well coached they are. Like, obviously playing, you don't get to see kind of what their mentality is in the game. But I think what I realized is, like, they were letting some of the BD girls shoot wide open threes and they just stared at them. I was like, that's really unique. Like, I had never gotten to see that. So they know their scout. They're going to play super strategically. That's, I think, one of the best perks about playing field. But we just got to know that we're going to do the same thing. Like you said, we know their plays, they know ours. And then it's kind of difficult playing at playing fields with their student section. They bring it every single time, so it's props to them. But just knowing that, like, we have each other's backs for sure. This last week was super promising. Big wins over Bloomington South and, of course, a team record. So, I mean, you just got to look at that team record, like I said, and just be really content with where we're at as a team. And just know that if you play your individual role, there's nothing we can't do. I think feeding into that rivalry too, like, they have had our number. They've been our kryptonite over the years. But, hey, I think we got it. I love the sport because, you know, at any given moment, it could be anyone's game. So tomorrow I'm hoping it's ours.
That's fantastic. Well, Elle, it was great seeing you. Best of luck here tomorrow night, and hopefully we'll be talking again here soon.
Yes, thank you so much.
Awesome. Take care.
Good luck, Elle.
Thank you.
Elle McCulloch of Brownsburg with us here on the scores table. Just like Scott Schoen, instant offense, that one.
You don't think that that Plainfield's just going to stare at Elle McCulloch shooting threes the way they did against Ben Davis, do you?
I mean, if they do that, I hope that Brownsburg does the same for Menser, and then we get a game that finishes like, 110 to 109 or something. Like, give me all the points. I would hate that. Yeah. I also love that Scott Shane's, I think it was a joke about 2 inches of snow calling off school has now just become lore or become canon.
I think every guest has mentioned it. So, sorry, Scott. You're never living that one down, man. You know, really I don't forget anything either.
He really isn't. Danny, let's go ahead. We're going to shift over here, move up to the Lafayette area as I get things sorted here. Lafayette,
before
Jefferson.
While you're sorting real quick, I wanted to, like, we had mentioned Scott Shane kind of throughout this. There is a really interesting cat and mouse. That's already happening. Charlestown in the first game, when I screened Silver Creek versus Charlestown the first time, they had players that they did not guard. And when I mean didn't guard, I mean they just took the person that was guard, like Thompson, for example. They just took that defender and put it right in the middle of the paint. And so that changes already, like, how you space and position your players on the floor. Like, there's built-in pressure release because you know that Thompson is going to have a free release at any point in time. You can get the ball to her. But if you put her in the middle of the floor, which is where you want that release to be, now you put the defender right at the front of the rim too, which is where Brooklyn Wren wants to get a Silver Creek. That's going to be a really interesting cat and mouse. I just wanted to give the audience one really kind of what to watch there. Watch how Charlestown decides to guard everybody not named Emily Robinson, Emma Shane, and Brooklyn Wren. Do they sag off? Do they guard them at all? Do those kids shoot? Where does Scott position them? Just a really interesting thing that we saw on film. We said it was kind of 'tis the season for kind of all the junk stuff. Charlestown already gave such a unique look at how they're going to guard Silver Creek. And that was maybe some of the hints that I was that I was giving Scott. I'm sure he saw it and he realized it because he was coaching in the game. But just a fascinating kind of thing because you now have a kid who is just standing on the offensive floor without anything to do.
That'll be interesting to watch. Charlestown too is a lot deeper team. They don't have stats up, but I read some articles on them. They're a lot deeper team than I would have expected. So that'll be a good matchup.
They've got good players. Yeah. Maddie Warnock, Lexi Fincham, Chesney Jackson. Like, those kids are real deal, man.
Another real deal here, Danny, is Maya Layton, and she's on with us now. Maya, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I think the first time we talked, you were a sophomore at Faith Christian. Now you're a senior at Lafayette Jeff, 2,000 career points, first player in the county. Congratulations on that. Let's just start there. How much was that weighing on you over the weeks? Was that something that you've kind of been focused on here in recent months and coming into the season, was getting that 2,000 mark?
It was definitely a goal, especially after junior year, knowing that I was close enough to get to that point. But like last Thursday, I knew I only needed 8 points. So just really making sure that I could get that, especially in the first half, was really special. And just being able to share that moment with my team and the people around me, my even classmates, my own coaches, my family. It was just a really special moment for me.
Lafayette Jeff has McCutcheon here coming up. You guys split the regular season series. Didn't split. It feels like a split because you guys played them so close the first time around. The second game wasn't quite as close. What do you take away from those two matchups and kind of try to apply here to Friday night?
Yeah, I mean, we take what we learned the first time we came around them in the Hoops Classic tournament, how close we were. We only lost by 3 points. And then coming back and not doing the best the second time. So just really focusing on the scout that our coaches prepared for us and just staying really disciplined in practice, watching film, seeing what we did good, seeing what we did, like what we need to work on, just really taking that in.
Maya, the McCutcheon-Lafayette Jeff rivalry, just broadly, again, North Knox, South Knox, Brownsburg, Plainfield. It's like all of these things are like connected, and Jeff and McCutcheon is no exception. There's a lot of history to that. A lot of that history happened before you got there. What level of appreciation do you have for that rivalry and the importance of it and kind of knowing who the players were? I mean, McCutcheon has been past the sectional round on the strength of Lily Grazer's performances the last 2 years. And so now here we have the third matchup of the year. And now Maya Layton, you are involved in this. Just talk to me about where you see this Lafayette Jeff McCutcheon rivalry and how special it's really been to be a part of.
Yeah, it's really big, especially like you said, Lily Graves. I've known her. We've played together since 2nd and 3rd grade. So just being able to see like how much she's improved in that game as well. It's been really fun to watch. And I mean, it's like a 10-minute drive. So it's basically I like our home court as well with our fans coming and supporting us too. And just the other players on that team, I've also played with them for a long time. Just being able to play with them in that matchup, it's always really fun, competitive. I mean, their cheer block's always really loud, and like the atmosphere of that game is just always really fun to play in.
And they've got a lot of length. It's not the first time that you've given up inches to an opponent, and you do just fine and just great. But they do have a lot of length, and it's not just Lily. They can really get out in passing lanes and bother you. Jeff Conoy switches defenses often, so you just kind of have to roll with it. What's your approach in this game, knowing that you're going to see multiple defenses, knowing that, the step back might not be there. You might have to step back a little bit further or ball fake a little bit more aggressively because the length is there. Like, what kind of problems, does McCutcheon really give you in regards to their length?
Yeah, I mean, they're really long and they can jump really high. Trinity Wilburn, for example, she has an insane vertical. So just making sure that we're reading that and being really disciplined, like I said before, trusting our scout that our coach is prepared for us, and just making sure that we're making the right reads and like shot fakes, pass fakes, and just reading it really well.
I'm going to go back so Hank and I had it in my notes. I do want to dive deeper, and I know it's a little bit out of order, but he talked about how the first game that Lafayette Jeff and McCutcheon played this year was a very close game. I screened both of them. The second game, what was it, like 23-2 at the end of the first quarter? Like, I'm not going to make you relive this past 1 sentence, okay? What in the world happened? Like, I turned it off.
Yeah, I mean, we just started letting Kiara Allen get hot. I mean, she was getting wide open looks from the 3 transition points. Like we said before, they're really long. So just them getting deflections and getting the transition points, I think that's what really got us in that deep hole in the beginning of the game.
Yeah. And then finally, I'll send you back to Hank on this. I saw you see the reputation that you have, and we've kind of, I guess, been around the same circles of basketball for a while, Maya. I saw you at the Pike game, like on senior night. You were down in Indianapolis. I was like, that's like Maya Layton across the floor. Like, did you have some friends on Pike on senior night, or what were you doing down in Indy that night?
Yeah, I had 2 friends on senior night, Marley Jefferson and Alana Devine. So, I mean, I played with them in AAU. So
AAU teammates.
Just came to support.
I gotcha. It was really cool. It's good to see. I couldn't make it over there to say hi to you, but I definitely saw you. You're one of those kids that, wear their Lafayette Jeff jacket in, and even if it's the number 1 team of the state on their senior night, you stand out. So hopefully you stand out again next week. Hank, go ahead and bring us home.
Hey, Maya, add one more. So when you're preparing for a third matchup with the team, when you guys are doing film study, do you study both games? Do you kind of package the second one and push it away? How have you guys kind of approached the preparation side of things?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely look at the first game really well, especially because it was such a good game. It was such a close game, back and forth the whole game. We're looking like what we did well, like how we got the open shots, how we got the transition points, all that stuff. And then from the second game, it was kind of just like we were looking at what we needed to work on, whether it is playing better defense, communicating better, getting the right spots on defense, reading the right passes on offense. It was just the little things that we took from both games and try to put them together so we can be prepared for tomorrow.
Sure. That's fantastic. Well, best of luck here tomorrow night, Maya. Hopefully we'll be talking again here soon in a couple weeks.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good luck, Maya.
Take
care.
You too.
Maya Layton of Lafayette, Jefferson with us here. on the scores table. Danny, we finally get a little bit of a chance to breathe here in between guests, but that I'm really interested to see that Lafayette Jeff McCutcheon game because I feel like it trends a little bit more towards the first meeting that was close than the second one. It feels like Jeff's an improved team. They've been playing well here of late. You had a nice one over Noblesville, a full strength Noblesville, by the way. Feels like they're trending in the right direction. McCutcheon's kind of the tried and true and the experience thing, but I think Lafayette Jeff's fully capable of giving them a game and winning that thing.
I would say it this way. I think this is the best rendition of McCutcheon that we have seen in the last 3 years. I think they're more balanced. I think they're more experienced. I think they can do different things on the offensive side. They've had multiple games where Lily Graves actually wasn't the leading scorer, which was unique. I mean, Lily had to go out and get 25 seemingly every night. Another thing can also be true while that's true, and that is that I think this Lafayette Jeff team probably provides the largest resistance to a McCutcheon sectional victory, a sectional championship, than in any of the years past. So I think I say it that way to say that I agree with you. I think time will tell. The second game where McCutcheon jumped on them early, I think Lily had a basket early. She had a couple deflections, like a steal. She had a couple of assists. Like she was I don't want to give the impression that she was doing nothing because she was affecting the game a ton, but it wasn't her scoring. She scored late in the half on, I think maybe the last possession, not in the half, the last possession of the quarter. I think they just ran like an ISO, cleared out, little step back, really beautiful short 17-foot jumper by Lily Graves there to close the quarter out. But the other players, I think Amaria Gibson in that game, I think had 8 points in the first quarter. Like that's a lot of points to put up in the first quarter. I'm wondering how Lafayette Jeff approaches this game with that knowledge. Like, do you take Lily Graves away or do you dedicate your help side resources to taking everybody else away? It's the age-old question, right? The age-old question in sports, do we take away the ace and let the king, the queen, and the jack hurt us, or do we take away, or we let the ace have whatever they want and then take everybody else away? I think that's what faces Jeff. I think in that second game, I think it got away from them because both of them really kind of got off early in that game and it was over very early. So that's probably my what to watch here is let's just kind of see just from a strategy perspective, how Jeff decides to guard this newfound balance that McCutcheon has.
That's going to be really interesting to see. Yeah, Jeff, by the way, 8-game win streak since they lost to Pike by 13 on January 3rd.
Yep.
So they've been on a roll. And your point too about Lily Graves, and just, I mean, that was something that Kanoe and I talked about at the beginning of the season, just how she's learning how to affect the game in different ways, be it as a passer, defensively, using that length that you talked about, the rebounding. So it is interesting that you brought that up too, and that maybe she didn't score, but she was finding different ways to be impactful and just those different ways. So that'll be a really interesting game to see. We have some time to kill here. I know that you have notes on some of these games. Is there one game in particular that's top of your list that you wanted to talk about?
Well, I mean, I think you'll see me double back on some of the games that we had already talked about.
Absolutely.
I know we've got some of that stuff. So, Delta J County is an interesting one because the winner of that game isn't the sectional champ. Like they still have to deal with the opposite side of the bracket, which has two teams that can win. Connorsville really looks good. What we thought was going to be a very close game on Tuesday night ended up being a 20-point spread in their favor. But honing in specifically on that Delta and J County game, if you look at the first matchup, Delta, they assisted 13 of their 17 made field goals. Now they lost to J County by 4, and most of those shots were threes, where they shot 33%. In all of the excellence of Jillian Barr, she doesn't do a ton of her damage from the 3-point line. She does it inside the arc. Well, J County plays kind of an odd front zone. So they were seemingly collapsing the zone on Jillian Barr, collapsing the zone on dribble penetrators, and Delta was able to find shooters and they were able to knock them down. That's the what to watch. How does the J County zone, if they do in fact play that 3-2 zone that they've played a lot throughout the year, do they play that? against Delta, and how do they choose to rotate it off the weak side into the middle when Jillian Barr gets there? I do think that Jay County has, I don't want to say a bit of an advantage, but that is kind of the question that I had posed about Lafayette, Jeff, and McCutcheon. That's one of the things that Jay County kind of told us, like, listen, your Barr, I think, had 18 in that game, but they were saying, like, Barr, you're not going to beat us inside the 3-point line. Like, you're going to have to drive past us in that zone. You're going to have to find open shooters, and they're going to have to make them. And if they don't, like, they still lost. I mean, they made 33% of them. They still lost the game. So let's watch Jay County zone. Let's watch how it rotates. Let's watch the collapse in the middle. But that's just kind of one note. I think that one's going to be really interesting because I think it leads to a really interesting matchup also on Saturday within that sectional.
And I tell you what, Cade kind of hinted at it, but Delta went through this kind of lull last year, whereas late in the season, for whatever reason, where they just kind of stumbled a little bit and then they picked it up and went, which feels like they're more dangerous maybe than I maybe mentally, subconsciously am giving them. But they're dangerous. But that Jay County side too, you mentioned it. Are they maybe a year ahead of schedule? Potentially, but it's just amazing watching the two sisters and just how they work so well in unison together and how much Carson opens things up for Hallie. Just in terms of everything on the floor. Like, I saw them against Pendleton Heights and talked to them after the game, but it's just a night and day difference for them year over year. Just having her younger sister there, somebody else, that other scoring option, to kind of open up and create opportunities for her, making it more difficult for defenses to guard them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a note on another. I have a note on another game. Whitko.
Sure.
So I dropped into a Whitko stream.
Yeah.
Okay. I dropped into a Whitko stream under the context that I think we're going to be watching them over the next couple of weeks and need to be able to analyze them. And I saw something that I did not think that I was going to see a high school team ever do. They pick up full court man and they don't play any zone, and they run and jump out of it. And they seemingly divide the other team into handlers and non-handlers. And when non-handlers have it, they stay home and pressure. And when handlers have it, they jump and trap. It is an unbelievably fun brand of basketball that Justin Jordan has employed with his Whitko team. They are going to be very, very, very difficult to beat. But we talk so much about these pack line switching defenses of Kevin Stuckmeyer and, at times, Jess D'Armelio at Carmel, she switches everything. There's a lot of these kind of quarter court pack line man teams. Whitko's the opposite. Whitko is extend the floor. We're going to pick you up at the scores table and we're going to get after you. And I just thought it was awesome. So I just wanted to whet the appetite of everybody as we get into the regional and semi-state episodes and we start to cover Whitko. I'm going to be intolerable with talking about this because I have dabbled within that system a couple of times, as recently as last year, in just kind of this full court man stuff. You have to have the personnel to do it. He has more athleticism this year than he knows what to do with, and he has just turned him loose on the defensive side, and it's great. So just a note on Whitko and a little appetizer for everybody for next week.
Absolutely, Whitko. And Danny and I talk about it as we get ready here to transition over to Northrop. But that's what's fun about this time of year is that we get to start talking about some of the smaller schools. It's easier to dial in on the front runners and the like because the field shrinks down, which is going to be fun. And Whitko is one too that we've kind of been biding our time, but are both very much looking forward to talking about and talking with Coach on that one. Danny, let's go ahead and bring in our last guests of the night. Joined now by Katie and Swynn Jackson from Fort Wayne, Northrop. How are you guys doing?
Hey.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's just start with that game against Homestead. I had a chance I caught the very tail end of it, watched on stream. I know it was a heartbreaker, but in terms of atmosphere and just, I mean, that was an incredible theater. What was it like to be part of that?
Well, first of all, you have to preface the game with saying these kids have been playing against each other since they were younger, and a lot of them actually played on the same AAU team. Ironically, it was their senior night. Not only just the Northrop kids, but I think 4 of the Homestead, 5, all 5. Well, they have 6 seniors, but 5 starters. I coached in some capacity, so I think there was some added emotion to that. And then coming in as their senior night, I mean, the gym was packed, and we couldn't have asked to play a more perfect game. And so for that, I was really proud of my kids.
Katie, your schedule. I'm so sorry, Hank. Go ahead and get Swynn. Go to get Swynn that question.
I was going to ask Swynn, just as a player, what is it like? What was it like being part of that pressure-packed atmosphere? How did you guys handle it?
I thought we handled it really well. I don't think we got sped up by them at all, and we just went out and had fun and shared the ball. and I just thought it was a really good game.
Go ahead, Dan.
I was just typing my bad into the chat. Katie, okay. And I think people may know this. I'll say it now. I mean, you and I have known each other a long time, okay? Your schedule is really good this year, okay? And I'm going to list it off so people can really kind of see this. Homestead and Snyder, you play. Obviously, they're within your conference, so obviously you play them, two great basketball teams. Warsaw, Pike, Marquette Catholic, Whitko, Belmont, Lawrence Central. And then you throw on top of it the defending state champs, Lawrence North. Okay, that's what you have played this. Like, you're a lunatic, by the way, for scheduling that.
It's fine.
But everybody is 0-0, okay? So it has to be something that you maybe voluntarily did. How do you think that's prepared you for your run kind of coming up now?
So part of our whole philosophy was, if you want to be the best, you have to play the best. And everything is preparation for right now. And so not looking at wins and losses, but looking at how we compete, how we grow as a team. I have 9 seniors, and we faced a lot of adversity this year with medical issues, 2 ACL tears. Swynn was hurt. We had a couple kids out, and it was just, this is the moment that we've worked for. You know, you battle adversity. It's the definition of your character. But traveling on the road, you know, went to Lawrence Central. I mean, we've done it all. But all of it was preparation. It was very strategic, because it won't matter if we were 20-2 and we lose the first round because we weren't prepared, because we played a fluff schedule. And that's kind of was our approach this year. Was this is a special group of girls. A lot of them I've coached since 4th, 5th grade. And we've always done that. You know, we played Chloe Spreen. We played everybody. You know, have that opportunity to play the best. So you can say, hey, I played against Miss Basketball. And seeing some of the, you know, greatest gyms in Indiana. And it was all about these girls and making their experience at Northrop the best possible, and to prepare for this moment this weekend.
I mean, there's a real good chance that when we get to state championship weekend, if you're there as a participating team, you know, your stamp is going to be on that. I mean, every one of those teams, like your schedule is going to be well represented, I would say. All right, so this is going to sound harsh, okay? But I got to be real with you, Katie, okay? You lead the Snyder game 32-20, okay? In the third quarter, in the second half, they come back and win. I think I can say it like this. You won the Homestead game 3 times. I mean, you just did. You had it won 3 times, 3 different times in the triple overtime game, okay? But your message has to be finishing. You didn't finish in those games. So what is the message to your team? How do you get them, you know, single-mindedly focused on playing a full 32 minutes or playing a full 48 minutes like you did against Homestead, and finishing these things? Because you're not just in these games, you're leading these games with, you know, what seemingly would be like a 90% chance to win, and for whatever reason it gets away from me in the end. First off, what could you attribute that to? And second, what's been your message to the team in regards to finishing?
So I think the first thing I would say is we haven't had this is the first time. Homestead was the first time in the very last game of the year that we had our entire team.
Wow.
Okay.
That's the first time that we had everybody healthy. Well, and to be honest with you, I didn't even know Swynn was going to play. I had my lineup filled out, and she wasn't in my starting lineup. And I was in the locker room, and my assistant coach ran in and said, hey, Swynn told Sarah to tell me that she's going to play. And I was like, okay, let's go. Because, you know, players show up. It's the conference, you know, title. It's all those things. It's all of her friends, because she had tweaked her ankle, you know, 2 weeks prior. So that legit was the very first time this season I had my whole team. So I would attribute it to that. But the second piece is we've worked a ton of stuff like against pressure, you know, handling the ball, and we're really honest with our kids. Like, you know, hey, in that moment in that Snyder game, 2.5 minutes, they go on a 13-0 run. Swynn didn't shoot at all in those 2.5 minutes. Kayla shot once. So it's remember those things, play with pace, be patient, you know, make the extra pass. Like, and we even said something yesterday in practice, you know, my daughter Nevaeh, her thing was, hey, you know, when I'm tired, I tie my shoe. And I said, you guys just tie your shoe. Like, stop the momentum, reach down, pause. And if it's really bad, I need everybody to retie their shoes, all 5 of you. And I said, so instead of us yelling out, and I think as coaches, we reflected, we're yelling at kids, go middle, go middle. And we're like adding to that emotional anxiety. So I said, if you hear me yell out, so you guys know this, if you hear me say, tie your shoe, that is my way to communicate to them, just slow down and be calm. Because I think that that's part of it, that not lack of experience, but lack of experience this year together has allowed us to do those things. And, refs make calls or don't make calls, and we miss free throws. Like we turn the ball over. Like we wouldn't even be in that position had we not just taken care of the basketball.
Well, Swynn, your mom, Katie, she allows you guys to attack, particularly off the bounce. It's not overly complicated on the offensive side. She positions her players in ways where it allows you guys to make plays, particularly you and Kayla. Just talk about the system and how fun that is to play in. I mean, at the end of that Homestead game, you're breaking these defenders down. You're getting wherever you guys want. And it wasn't just you and it wasn't just Kayla. It was like everybody. You guys just had matchups and you were going literally right around them. You have been a joy to watch playing in that system. Can you just describe that for us a little bit for, maybe just some of the more inner workings of what you guys are trying to do offensively and how you're so free, seemingly open all the time?
Well, me and Kayla have been playing together for a while. So, a lot of times when we cut, we already know where the other one's going to be. And not even just that, but I feel like our teammates do a good job reading us. Like, Miley knows when to set the screen and when to roll. And I think that helps us, relieve some of the pressure sometimes because now they have to worry about Miley in the post. So I just think it really, kind of feels like AAU because we're all, reading each other really well and we're playing against good people. So it really just feels like we're playing AAU, so I think that's why it looks kind of easy sometimes.
Yeah.
That was
Katie,
it was really good. That was really good.
That was. Katie, your zone looks nice. And I don't know. I mean, Homestead has shown earlier in the year that they're going to have problems against kind of odd front zones and getting into passing lanes. You got that thing locked in. And there was I think you kind of told a lot of people, where some vulnerabilities may actually persist. Have you been, I don't remember you really running that kind of odd front actions. That was relatively new. I was surprised by that, but did you just roll with it because it started to be effective in that Homestead game, or did you go to it for a reason?
So we initially started that, I think with Swynn's group, maybe it would have been last year. Okay. We started with it. So they've been running it. So this is almost 2 years. Now we've made some switches. I think it helped bringing Swynn up to the top for her length. You position Miley in the middle as a big, she's long, and then you have two quick baseline to baseline kids in Kayla and Olivia, and Swynn and Marion do a great job on the top, talking, working on coverages. We have worked on that for almost 2 years, and it's kind of been our go-to. Maybe, when we played Snyder the first time, that was Miley's first game back, putting Swynn in the middle and just putting kids in position to use their athleticism and play defense. I think defense is one thing we stress a lot at Northrop, but again, the same freedom they have on offense, we allow them to have those same things and just teach them basic concepts and coverages. And I think part of it, like Swynn said, them playing together for so long, it makes that zone look really, really good.
Swynn, your mom mentioned Miley. She's got a big task. Obviously, the 30-20 lead in the third quarter, the first time Northrop played Snyder in the regular season is what I'm referencing on this. And it was really a big third quarter by Mackenzie White, which really got them back in the game. Miley does figure to be a big part of this game, but she's also, you could tell that Northrop was elevated in its status as a basketball team when she came back. Can you just talk about what it has meant having her back, having an inside threat, having somebody that can guard somebody like Mackenzie White, and how it's really kind of helped your game? Because you're playing really well, and I think a lot of that has to do with what Miley does in the interior of that Northrop offense.
Well, I think that the first time we played Snyder, that was Miley's first game back, so I do think that tomorrow she's going to have a really good game and play good against Kenzie. And I also think that Miley is a really underrated passer because a lot of times, I'll pass her, I relocate, and she's really quick to hit me right away. And it just makes those shots really in rhythm and easier to hit because she's always looking to pass. And she's also, been a reason why we get a lot of second chance opportunities. She'll get the offensive rebound and kick it back out to one of us, or we can, set something up. And I just feel like it's really helped us a lot.
With Waring, she won a state championship her freshman year over at Bishop Luers, correct? Just this time of year, how much does it help having a kid who's been there, who's done that, both from a player and a coach's perspective, just having that extra voice, that experience, I guess, to lean upon?
I think anytime you have a kid that's had those experiences, they bring a certain level of confidence. They walk through it. But I think the biggest piece is we have 9 seniors. Like, that is insane. And so I'm hoping that, every time we've gone through this, when the twins were seniors, we fell short. Lexi Castater had, I think, 35 points Swynn sophomore year against Snyder, and we lost it, and it was like in the last minute and a half. And so we've always fallen short. So I don't, just having Miley, having that experience, having 9 seniors, and having kids that have like this insatiable appetite because they've been so close, yet they're still so far. And I think that that's the way, knowing this group, this is how they want to go out. This, if this is going to be their final season, they want to cut a net. We talk all about, walking up a ladder and having that together. The 9 of them with their families would be amazing.
Swynn with 9 seniors on the team. How has leadership looked for this group?
I think that the leadership has really stepped up this year. Like, a lot of times in practice, in past years, I've seen some of the older girls, like, they're kind of like just jogging around last in sprints and everything. And I feel like this year, like, we made it so that we're not running sprints because of like things we do wrong. Like, and if we do something wrong, we're really like helpful with one another, making sure that it's not like coming off across as like rude.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's been really good.
Has that does that sort of thing come naturally for you? Being a coach's daughter, does leadership, being vocal, that sort of thing? No?
Because I'm the youngest, so no one really listens to me.
Oh, so this is great for you. So how have you liked have you gotten like a power rush, I guess, from being there?
Great answer. Great answer.
The laughter's enough. Katie, I got a question about Kayla.
Yes.
Your personality, for the people who maybe don't know you off of the sideline of coaching, you can be very intense, you can be very hard-nosed, you can be very aggressive. You are you're out there. You don't hide anything, okay? I don't know that anybody embodies her coach personality-wise on the floor more than she embodies you. Like, she is extraordinary with her athleticism. Look, she talks a little bit, she pushes a little bit. I mean, some of the other kids on Snyder were actually on here kind of talking about it. Again, I don't mean this in a bad way. Like, I'm actually pointing at it as a very complimentary thing toward Kayla, but that's the way I read it. I've never spoken to her. You and I have never actually had an in-depth conversation about her. Am I missing this? Tell me about that kid. Tell me what it's like to coach her. Tell me what she's like on the floor.
So was it 4th grade or 5th grade? I've been coaching Kayla that long.
Yeah.
And so she's always had like that swag to her, little chip on her shoulder.
Yes.
It has taken a lot to pour, like getting that relationship, and not in a bad way. I love her like she's my own child. Grandparents are bought in, parents are bought in. But the one thing that what you're going to get every time Kayla comes on the floor. Like, if you're going to go to battle, you want a kid like Kayla to go to battle, because she's going to fight for her teammates. But like, you can't ask for somebody that's more athletic, the stuff that she does defensively. And she has grown so much this year as far as getting back in transition and doing some of those things. Every once in a while you'll get, she missed a layup, she's upset. But when she was in 6th grade, she would have pouted. I would have had to take her out. And it has taken me a couple times, taking her out. But I think you have to have somebody like that. I think of a Dennis Rodman or a Ron Artest. Like, they're the reason why their teams were successful, because they had somebody like that. And I would equate her, like, Swynn's kind of the quiet storm. She's going to talk on defense. She's going to lead by example. Kayla's going to tell you. And there's nothing like, she's a big cheerleader. Swynn hits a 3 and she's doing all her stuff, and they feed off of it. You know what I mean? Like, but you have to have, and I think one of the things that, and I've always told her, she has a good relationship with my son, Jalen. And, when Jalen flexes because he makes it, nobody says anything because he's a boy. Kayla flexes it when she makes it, and they're like, Katie, watch number 5. And I'm like, it's the exact same thing. That's just the way that she plays. But I think for us, it's a positive when she's doing those things, because she's building her teammates up in that regard. There's nothing like, Swynn hitting a 3 or Marion hitting a 3 or Miley getting an and 1. And Kayla's going to be the first one to scream in their face and be like, and 1. But she's also the same kid that when they fall on the ground, she's picking them up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my dog. It's actually Jalen's dog, Danny.
Is it really? Of course it is. And of course you're watching it. Come on, Jalen. Responsibilities, bud. Katie, I find your teams style of play very endearing. Swynn had said it's kind of like AAU. Maybe that's why I find it endearing. Okay. I think you guys are a very dangerous team. And here you have a very familiar opponent, and that is not dissimilar to everybody else that we have talked to. Brownsburg playing Plainfield, North Knox playing South Knox. I mean, it's just Triton, Central, Eastern, Hancock, and now Northrop and Snyder. Like, the familiarity is there. What's your messaging to the team? What's important to you this week? What's your approach and what you're telling the kids in practice about a familiar opponent?
So it's going to be the same message as playing Homestead. I went in last Thursday at practice, and we wrote the word discipline on the board. And they had to come up with a synonym that went with it. And a lot of it was unselfishness. They went through all those things. Same message. The other day in practice, Tuesday, I'm playing a war chant. And I'm talking about what are the things that this is going to be a war. Like, what are all the things that you need to go to war? And they talked about strategy, and they talked about weapons, and they talked about a plan and soldiers and a shield. One of my kids said, God, they're going to have to trust in God. And so that's kind of the same message is, we're going to go to war. We're going to play disciplined basketball, but we're going to play Northrop basketball. And we're prepared. Like, we've had enough time. We've had, a week to prepare for Snyder, and it's a familiar opponent. It's not like we're going in blind. So that's the same message is this whole season's been the last dance, and we don't want it to be the last song. So let's keep playing basketball.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Katie and Swynn, thank you guys so much for hopping on with us. Best of luck here tomorrow night. And hopefully we'll be talking here again soon.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Take care.
Good luck, girls.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Katie and Swynn Jackson from Fort Wayne, Northrop. Danny, we're gonna have one more guest. FahKara Hawkins is in the waiting room. Once FahKara gets her camera on, we'll bring her on with us as we wrap up the show. But I'm really excited and interested to see that Fort Wayne Snyder Northrop game.
I'm not only, I mean, it's like there's like a little mini Final Four that's built in there. Because on one side of Fort Wayne, you have Homestead versus Norwell. The winner will go on into the regional. And on the other side, you have the semifinal. That's Snyder and Northrop. The winner of that game will play the winner of Homestead Norwell. There's super familiarity across the board. You have contrasting styles. You have contrasting depth. You have contrasting offenses. You have familiar coaches. I think that's really unique. And when you talk about it as this little kind of mini tournament of four, it makes Northrop's candidacy to be the one that emerges out of that group very real. I mean, they had Homestead on the ropes. They had Snyder on the ropes. They even led Warsaw earlier in the year. They do have to be able to finish. But I tell you what, like the zone is cranked up. It's very difficult to stay in front of them. They are a very difficult out. And then the second thing, and then we'll get on to coach, but again, I think that wearing matchup is really big. Snyder didn't have anything going when they were down 32-20. I actually asked both White and Cooper when they were on if there was anything in that ATO 32-20 that Reggie said in that. It really wasn't. If you go back and watch that game, Mackenzie White just got on a little bit of a heater. So I do think that the attention to detail and guarding Mackenzie White and keeping her off the offensive glass, not letting her get too deep with her post position, I think is going to be critical. Miley Waring is going to be a very critical piece and very influential with who is going to come out of that to play the Homestead Norwell winner. It's
crazy. That kid, I remember she's a freshman, and that was the thing when they beat LaPel. I remember texting with Zach Newby, or I think we maybe talked on the phone. He's like, that Waring kid is something else. Watching her at St. Anne's Brownstown, that Waring kid is something else.
Yeah.
That was all the talk of Brandon Alman going into the game was Miley Waring. The other thing, too, that I'll point out quickly here, Northrop was up on Warsaw. They were up on Snyder, and they weren't healthy. They weren't healthy until that game against Homestead. Maybe the best, I guess just based on records, best of three. Warsaw is obviously really good right up there, even with Homestead. Either way, point is, they took one of the best teams to state triple overtime at full health. Obviously, they're clicking right away quickly. I'm sure that helps having 9 seniors. And now you have a full week of practices. We talked about Lawrence Central as we move a little bit closer to Indianapolis and how that layoff could be a bad thing because it is so long. But on the Northrop side, not unlike a Brownsburg, I guess, with the illnesses that they're going through, it's probably helpful to have a full week of practice with everybody healthy and available where you can get them all kind of grooving together, driving and jumping.
Agent experience, just real quick. Yep. Agent experience, Norwell. Agent experience, Northrop. Agent experience, Homestead. Agent experience. A little young. I mean, it's super talented, but a little young on that Snyder side. We'll see if that is if that plays the way that it has in some of the earlier matchups this week.
Snyder loves to hear that too, because I think you or I both maybe asked them about that and the expectations thing, and they're like, "Oh well, everybody says we're young. Well, look at us now," and kind of wear that as a chip on their shoulder. Yeah, I'm
Coop will play this thing back. They're good. Yeah.
Danny, let's bring in here FahKara Hawkins with us here, North Central head coach. Coach, it's great to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Coach.
Absolutely. So North Central has a big game tomorrow night, sectional semifinal against Lawrence North. I want to go back to the conversation that you and I had at Buff, where we talked about kind of the turning point of the season. And you mentioned that the girls kind of saw, somewhere in late December, what it takes to win, what it takes to be successful. If you could just explain to Danny and the audience what changed during that time, and I guess just expound upon that idea of the girls learning what it takes to be successful at the 4A level.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Danny, long time no see.
I know it hasn't been that long, but I've been anxious to get you on. I can't wait to talk to you about your team.
Yeah, thanks. Well, like I spoke to you before, we at our Christmas tournament, things just really changed for us. We took 3 L's, but they were phenomenal for us because every game we got better at something. And by that Homestead game, and they were down one of their best shooters, so it's all relative. But we put in a game plan and we followed it to a T, and it allowed us to stay in the game. And I felt like at that point, the kids started to believe, hey, like we can really do something here. Like we just took one of the best teams in the state by far, all the way to the 4th quarter. And outside of one of their big runs, we were right there. And so no, you don't have moral victories that you want to hang on to. But for us, as we continue to learn processes and learn how to win, that was a really big turning point for us that week for us, having those 3 games that, again, most people say you're not successful because you didn't come out with the dub, but we were able to change our mindsets and just really believe in ourselves individually and then ourselves as a team.
FahKara, I'm not going to bury the lead here, and I you'll get mad at me that I'm going to ask this question first, okay?
I can't hear you, Danny.
You can't hear me? We lost Hank altogether. So can you hear me?
Sorry, I ran off screen real quickly to tend to something, and then Danny disappeared. So I apologize for that, FahKara. I don't know what happened there either. Danny's back. Can you, Danny? Hey.
Sorry about that. If that was me, then sorry.
That's okay. We've had some audio. FahKara, can you hear Danny?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Danny, can you hear me?
I can.
Can you guys see me and hear me?
We can see you. We can hear you. Yeah. Can you hear us?
I have no idea.
Danny, we've gone through an entire season.
Coach.
Hello?
We can hear you. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Coach?
I can hear you now. I have no idea what's
perfect.
going on.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. We've Danny must have walked under some ladders or something because we've just had the worst luck with technology here lately. I'm a good co-host, so I put all the blame on the other guy. Go ahead, Danny.
Let's see if we can't save this thing here. I look, this question will save it because you'll get frustrated that I'm asking it first.
See, I can't hear Danny at all.
Okay, I'll ask a question because I kind of wonder if this is where he's going. I was going to ask about obviously Naja Winston, and just let's start just with what she brings on the floor. What does she do for your lineup in basketball terms, and then we can kind of talk about the experience side of things.
On the basketball side, she's just aggressive. The kid is chasing the ball around like I like to tell her, you look like a 5th grade soccer player. Like you just want to get the basketball no matter where it is, and you're going to attack it all the time. So her aggression just kicks our aggression up as a team. Defensively, she is trying to get a tip. She's trying to get a rebound. She's trying to get a steal. And so everybody else just takes their play up a whole nother level. Then on the offensive end, she makes the right basketball play. Whether that's her shooting or her making the right pass, she is going to make the right play. And so people want to move for her. People want to play within our offense, but also see other options. And that next dimension makes it really hard for us to be guarded sometimes.
Experience-wise, too, having a kid, we mentioned this just the last interview with Milo Waring at Fort Wayne Northrop, but just having a kid who's been there and done it so recently, too, that's got to be massive to have inside the room. Oh, my gosh.
It's huge in your locker room. Right. When kids are trying to learn what it looks like to win, they have a great example right in front of them at all times. And, one thing that we like to talk about with Naja is that she wasn't even the top kid. Right. And she gets to speak on what it looks like to play a role, and that every role is really important. And she's just really humble in that. And so it's easy for kids to want to follow that.
For her, we talked again at Brebuff, but she mentioned that there were times when she got a little bit down when she's sitting out waiting for the opportunity to play. And she said that her teammates picked her up, and it was very sweet. Just, the way that she said they kind of kept her going, and just the way that they loved on each other. And the way that they've bonded together so quickly is really cool to see. Just Danny and I have talked about it multiple times, the energy that she showed when she was seated out. If you could just talk to us about the chemistry of this group and just how close they are together.
Yeah. For this group, I was really fortunate because I walked into a bunch of kids who have been playing together for 2 and 3 years, and some of them even longer. And so they already just love each other. They are trying to go to bat for each other. They're trying to dive on the floor for each other. They're trying to do whatever they can for the next girl. And so when Naja comes in, it's just adding another person to the family. When we have a freshman on the team, when she's on the floor, it's just adding another kid to the family. And then, we have a transfer, and it's just come on in. Like everybody, we just want everyone to feel welcome, and we don't want to just say the word family. We want to show family. And so it's just been really good just seeing that chemistry from the beginning really of the season, and even back into June when we first started working out.
I tried moving Danny to the top slot. Let's see if that fixed things. Danny, can you
test? Can you hear me?
Nothing.
Still nothing. Danny, if you want to throw your questions in the chat, I can ask them. Looking now at Lawrence North, the matchup that you have coming up here tomorrow night, what has changed about that? Yeah, I understand the reaction, but what have you seen different from that group? Have you studied them on film since the beginning of the season?
Well, coach does such a great job. And even if all those kids didn't play in a state championship team, they were on the bench or they were watching and just waiting on their turn, right? And so just the idea of winning has already been ingrained in them. So that's one thing that we're going against. But then over the course of the season, you just see their babies have grown up. At the beginning of the season, we played them 5 games in, and we saw just like some hesitancy and some just kind of falling back on one player or another. And now you can just see everyone's confidence and their skill set shining through. And so even against that team, that Warren game on Tuesday, you saw kids coming off the bench and just knocking down shots. You saw people making passes more confidently, and then their bigs going for more rebounds than when we played them the first time. So you just see a lot of growth in each individual player and their skill set.
One player in particular for them really jumps out as the freshman, Jalen Suggs. What is it about that kid that makes her such a difficult opponent to plan for?
Her size. Her size, she's not exceptionally fast, but she's not slow by any stretch of the imagination, right? She is one of those players who's playing at her own pace. She stays in her box, and it's a really, really good box. If you leave her open for a 3, she's going to knock it down. If you give her too much space, she's going to get you to her sweet spot at the elbow, and she's going to knock it down. Against Warren, she came up with the biggest rebound of the game, when they missed a couple free throws and need to get a board. So she's that kid that you have to be checking at all times because she can hurt you in any way.
Looking at the draw itself, the way that things shook out, did you like having that game, or did you like getting the bye, waiting to play until Friday, or would you have preferred a Tuesday night game?
Oh no, I was very appreciative. Warren took us down to the wire on Friday. I mean, they made us earn a game, and so we were definitely tired. And the flu bug is making its way through our team like it does every single team. It's basketball. That's just the way it works. So we're extremely grateful for the draw and being able to get a few days to under our belt of practice.
Awesome. Well, FahKara, thanks so much for hopping on with us. I'm glad we were able to get you on the show, and best of luck here this weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys have a good night.
Absolutely. Take care.
Bye.
FahKara Hawkins with us here, Danny. And with that, we've successfully executed a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Successfully executed or executed?
Well, yeah, executed it. We better not pump our tires. Listen, we're starting it off low. So that we can do even better next week with the regionals when we do this all over again for 2-hour shows. Yeah. But I mean, aside from little mic issues for Lexi, Primus, and even when she can hear me, and then as I'm going, going to the restroom, just across the hallway, I hear silence, a mini panic attack. There's nothing quite like that. But other than that, it was great.
It was.
That was a fun guest list.
It was a fun guest list. Great job. And this is. Look, I guess this will be my closing thought. I say this every single year, sectional week. After Saturday night, 85% of the teams are going to be done. 85%. So if you are not one of the teams that gets to go to practice on Monday, don't worry. 85% of the other teams are with you, and everyone else is coming back to you. They'll come back to you eventually, and then you will turn the page, okay? This is all part of it. It's the charm of this tournament that there's so many teams that can win it. There will be upsets this weekend. We won't get a chance to talk to them because it will roll right into Saturday. But I think my last charge is go out and support these girls. Go buy a ticket and go to the games. And the reason why I say that, and I'm not picking on Sectional 8. I went to a Sectional 8 school. Students at those schools don't go to those games, okay? They just don't. But when you turn on Whitko and you turn on Norwell and you turn on Homestead and you turn on Belmont and you turn on South Knox and North Knox and you turn these other schools on, you should see the community support, the student body support, and the environment that it creates for these girls. And I promise you, when a girl like Lexi Primus is in her car with Lipscomb teammates and they're on their way to the North Knox, South Knox game, those are the stories that she's going to tell. That's what's going to be romanticized in her heart and in her head is the community involvement. Hank, you even typed a question into the chat. How has the community responded? The reason why you asked that is because the support is unwavering within those communities. So pick a game this week, go to it, watch it. Listen to the podcast. We're trying to make you more educated in watching these games, but these girls deserve it. And it is really good theater. So that's my charge to everybody. I am preaching to the choir right now because if you're listening to this, you're a girls basketball junkie. But I don't know, maybe just give you the bravery to go to say to your neighbor who you have beers with, usually get in the car and let's go.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be phenomenal. That's perfectly said. Some shameless self-promotion. I will be at Plainfield tomorrow night for Pike Avon, Brownsburg, Plainfield. And then we'll have a post-game show tomorrow night. Saturday, I'm going to be down in Greenwood, I believe, for Center Grove. What will likely be Center Grove versus Franklin Central. And then we're going to do, instead of a show Saturday night, we're going to do a game Sunday mid-morning sometime in that range to give Danny and I both a chance to watch a couple games, get caught up on things, book some guests, move a lot out. And then obviously for regional championship week, we'll do the same thing I think as we did last year, where we'll have a couple shows. We'll split A and 2A into one, 3A, 4A into another, instead of doing a big 4-hour mega episode, which might actually kill both of us. So we'll do that with some guests. We'll have some fun. Thank you to everybody who stuck around with us and watches things. The numbers, I was expecting, honestly, a drop-off after we got through the first 10 minutes and talking about the big news of the day, but it picked up actually and continued and hovered around. So the numbers are phenomenal. We appreciate you all. And yeah, we will talk to you again soon. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you.